Through the concrete cracks worn weary by work boots and high heels, through the concrete cracks showered in tears of sorrow, tears of joy, through the concrete cracks rumbled by reverberations of 100 years, a flower on the hill takes its first breath, and a grand hope springs. Welcome to the Spring Street Podcast at the intersection of creation and destruction in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. And now, a word from the sponsors. This podcast is sponsored by Starship Kairos, a podcast studio available for bookings in downtown Los Angeles. Starship Kairos is where my guests and I make this show happen. Soundproofed, cozy, and equipped with professional audio gear, Starship Kairos is an ideal location for any type of podcast. Starship Kairos offers a full suite of services including content consultation, mixing and mastering, and custom jingle writing. For rates and booking, check them out on Instagram at Starship Kairos or click on the link in the description. And now, let's dive in. Well, I think we're set, man. Dude,
Sick.
Welcome to the Spring Street Podcast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me, dude. I was pumped to do it this week. When you asked me, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm ready to go.
Man. Well, and it's fun timing too, because we're coming off the back of that show.
Oh, yeah.
Which was just such an insane.
That was awesome, dude. The turnout for that was just like, I was blown away. Like I was happy for everybody there, even the crowd, you know. They came out to support, but I was like, man, that was just like such a good night.
Yeah.
That was probably like the best time I've had, just like probably the purest energy that of any show that I've been to really in LA. So since I've been here, so that was
well.
sick.
You also just played an insane show a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
You got to perform in front of like what 10,000 people.
Yeah,
tell me about that experience, man.
Oh, dude, that was it was really cool. It was I don't even know where to start. So I actually the funniest part about it is that I had the show the night before, which was in Mid City, and like.
Where'd you play at?
I played at Catch One, so Jules' apartment in Catch One.
Nice.
And it was like, I don't know, the turnout was just not what we anticipated. And Jules' apartment is a cool venue, but it feels a little bit more of like an acoustic like place. And like if it were to be packed out, I think it would have been fucking awesome. But like with the turnout that we had, like there's not a proper stage, so you're just like eye level with everyone.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like you really gotta like if people and not a lot of people enjoyed it, but not everyone was like reciprocating the energy that I was giving. So I was like, you have to like really like stay present and not get too in your head about it, because like there were definitely a couple songs where I was frustrated on, when I was like, dude, I'm like, because it's like a 45 like 50-minute set that I do for like my own shows.
Wow.
So I got like halfway through the set and I was like, fuck, man, this is rough. Like I was like, I know I'm killing it, but I was like, nobody's moving around. Like there was like maybe like, I don't know, 3 or 4 people kind of like moving, like giving me something that I could like visually like just like tangible shit that I like respond to. And it was still a great time, you know, like the after party. Like it was great for Tiago, who is my roommate, and also like we do a lot of our gigs together. Where
does he DJ when you're
so he
rapping?
DJs, so he's doing like an EDM like house set. So that was fucking awesome. Like the after party aspect of it was like, that was like the perfect spot for it, because everybody was dancing. It was like fantastic.
Is he part of your set though? Like when you're performing, does he like do your DJing back?
Well, he does so that's, I mean, he doesn't like, he's not like doing a ton back there, but like he helps like correct levels and do what he needs to. We still get assigned engineers for the venues that we play at, but Tiago has like a really good ear for shit. So he can do as much as he really can, like from his controller.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll like transition a couple of songs, but for the most part, like it's pretty much just like he's on stage, like have that like additional like energy of like another body being up there, where it's not like just me like fucking like, you know, going back to like my laptop and be like, oh, are you guys ready for the next one? Like fucking hitting like the space bar and shit.
Totally.
But yeah, dude, love performing with Tiago. That was an awesome night. Still a lot of fun for me. But like especially was like happy for him to like have like a great venue, and like we even got some like people bleeding over from some of the other rooms inside of Catch One, because it's all just, I mean, have you been there before?
No, I've heard about it.
It's cool. It's like, it's just like a big ass venue, and then there are a bunch of like rooms of different sizes inside of it, and they like book the whole
Interesting.
fucking house. Yeah,
And each room has a different performance going on.
yeah. So
That's tight.
It is. But
That's kind of like the
an
Middle
acoustic
East
set.
in Boston or in Cambridge.
Oh
like
yeah.
Boston area. There's a venue called the Middle East, and they have like maybe 4 different venues inside this big venue.
Oh
So
yeah.
they have like a main stage, like I think it's in the basement or something, or maybe it's on the ground level. I know there's a basement venue. Then there's like a little side kind of like cafe
Yeah.
area.
We were in the smallest one, so it was like reminiscent of that.
That's cool.
And it was sick. It's a cool ass venue. The only issue is that it's just not really soundproof that well.
Oh,
And
so
there was
you can
fucking
hear all the other
emo
bands.
karaoke not going on next door, and then above us is the
Wow.
main stage, which is like
Yeah.
house music and shit. So like for me, it didn't matter quite as much because I'm doing backing tracks for like a lot of like I got a couple soft songs, but most of my shit like you can turn it up loud enough that it's fine. And dude, our opener was like doing an acoustic set, and nobody like let us know about that. And we
Oh,
were just like
man.
getting ear fucked, bro. And I was just like, yo, like I was like. And she was fantastic. Like she handled it so well, but like that was definitely one of the frustrations that we had there. But you know, now we know. But yeah, going back to it, circling back, I get a little sidetracked. I get really sidetracked actually.
it's
That's
all
probably gonna
good,
happen
man.
a lot. But yeah, dude. So like I knew that we had the Dirty Head show the next day. So
And where was that at? The Dirty Head show?
That was at 5 Point Amphitheater in Irvine.
Okay.
So it was like they're from Huntington. And that was like pretty much like they had just ran like their whole Island Glow tour over the summer.
Mhm.
And I'm in contact with Jared, one of the lead singers, and I hadn't heard back from him. So I like from the last time that I had texted him. So I was like, like he's probably just like busy as fuck. Like, they're just coming off a tour. Like he was like with his family and shit.
Mhm.
And he hit me up like, I don't know, the show was on Saturday, and he hit me up on, I think it was like Wednesday. And was like, yo, he was like, you want to come do your verse? And I was like, dude, fuck yeah. So,
Dang, that's crazy.
yeah, we went down there, and it was especially awesome because we got to see what it is gonna look like when we're at that level of like what it's like to like have like full-time like touring managers, having like a tech manager, like all these different people wearing different hats, and then
Yeah.
the whole thing was put on by Live Nation. And so like seeing like I know about Live Nation, but like you're just kind of used to like seeing it as like, oh, get your tickets at Live Nation, like that's
Yeah.
pretty much it. Like I learned about it in like school like a little bit, but like for the most part it's just like, I don't know, it was just like general information, whereas like actually seeing the amount of people and like the amount of equipment that they have there is
Yeah.
like fucking awesome.
Had you ever performed in front of that many people?
Oh fuck
before?
no, nah. I think the biggest crowd that I performed for was 500, which is still sizable.
Yeah.
But that was actually in 2020. Me and one of my main producers and one of my other friends that I used to make music with a lot, who's on a couple of my tracks, we all got invited back to our high school that we went to. To play for like, they have like these school meetings like once a week there, and they have like a big like theater auditorium with like it feels more like it's for like theater, like it's not necessarily like a concert venue, like it's definitely like
Sure.
in like it's a private school and shit, so it's like it has that feel to it, but like still it's like 500 people, and it's like we started off the show and we were just like in the spotlight. So like that, like back then, like of course I've grown a lot as an artist and as a performer, and just like as a person, like got more like confident in like who I am and like what I'm capable of. So like at that time I was like so fucking nervous, even though they were like high school kids. I was like, fuck dude, like
Yeah.
but yeah. And then the show that we did at Pinkston, there were probably a good 200 people there that night. That was
Yeah, maybe even more than 200 people.
yeah,
that was
that-
pretty wild. It's funny that you mentioned that, because literally I was just thinking it's wild that we've actually played like a couple shows together now,
yeah.
just through these random circumstances. So
Pinkston was a cool one.
Pinkston was wild. For people who don't know, you and I, we flew out to DC. Like I don't even know where we were. That's your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that. But we were in like DC,
I think we were in. It's like we were like Northern Virginia,
Maryland
it was like
area. We were in
yeah.
Virginia. See, I
Yeah,
don't
Northern
even-
Virginia.
That area.
I think it was Falls Church.
Confuses me. Yeah,
Pretty
that
sure
sounds
it's
about
Falls
right.
Church.
And we got to play at this PR firm. And I think they're called Pinkston. I think
Yeah.
that's the name of the PR firm
Yeah.
after the guy who founded it, Christian Pinkston. And it's pretty sweet because he's got a vision for like doing music showcases in his office,
in
which
the office.
happens to also be set up for like fully professional, incredible shows.
Also, one of the sickest fucking offices I've ever been in. Like that shit was
It
so
was pretty
cool,
awesome.
bro. I was
Shout
like-
out to
I was like,
Caden.
yo, I would work here.
Caden was the homie
Yeah,
who
shout
put
out
that all
Caden.
together. Caden, if you're listening to this, thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks, dog.
That was
We
an
appreciate
incredible experience.
you. That was awesome.
And shout out to Christian. I mean,
Yeah, dude, such a nice guy.
I honestly love that though because, like, I love it when people open up unconventional spaces to
Oh,
allow for
dude, yeah.
performances. That's to me, those are some of the coolest concerts.
Yeah,
to
I
get to
mean,
be a part of.
of course, with the exception of performing in front of fucking 10,000 people, because like I can't say I've done that before.
Yeah.
Like Pinkston was like by far like just the most like aesthetically like cool and like pleasing. Like it was just so visually like such a great space to be in.
Yeah.
Also, that we use the fucking speakeasy as a green room, which they just have. There's just this like secret like speakeasy inside of a bookshelf.
behind a bookshelf.
Yeah, and you can just open this bookshelf up, and it's literally like a fucking speakeasy.
Speakeasy cigar room.
Oh my gosh, so cool,
So
man!
insane.
So cool. Ripping some whiskey in there, just
Dude, oh
kicking
my
it,
goodness.
shooting the shit with the boys. I was like, man, this
That was
is
a good night.
it's like life doesn't get any better.
You know what's funny? That was the first night that I showed you that song.
Yeah, no, I remember
that. You
that.
then did a verse on at our show just
Yeah,
like last week, 2 weeks ago.
I remember that when you asked me to jam, fucking a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Like, I was like, I expected, like, when I was coming over, I was like, because I remember that you had said something to me about it. You were like, maybe you want to, like, hop on this or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wonder if, like, Sheldon's, like, still, like, working on that. Like, or, like, he
Yeah,
wants
man.
that. Yeah. So.
I've been ironing that out for a long time. I think that I started. Oh, dude, I'm trying to remember when I even wrote that song. It might have been like in February.
Oh, damn.
I think it was in February when I was in Phoenix.
Damn.
Working some stuff like related to the Super Bowl. It's been a long time that I've been like working on that and ironing it out and trying to find a place where it just felt good. But I feel like we found a cool spot
Oh, yeah.
for it, like
Oh, yeah.
with where it's at right now. And kind of like on that note, I want to go back to the origins of things with your music.
Mm-hmm.
Where did your style come from? Like, what are some of your influences? You got kind of this like bluesy,
Yeah.
hip hop, rap, spoken word kind of vibe. Where did it all begin for you?
Oh, I mean, I could go like way, way back, but like I'm probably
Go way back, man. Go to the beginning.
Okay,
Day one.
So, excuse me here. So growing up, like, wasn't really, I wasn't really like into rap or like didn't really know anything about rap until I think the first like time I had like heard like, you know, was aware that I was like listening to a rap song when I was in like the third grade. So my dad is a banjo player in a bluegrass group, and he's 65 and he's been playing banjo since he was 21.
Wow.
Yeah. So he just like lives and breathes like bluegrass, but like, you know, it wasn't like too heavily like country music. Like it was a lot of like kind of like folk influence stuff. Like it was like John Denver, and like more like when it came to classic rock, it was more like he was into the soft rock, so it was like the Eagles and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I listened to a lot of rock growing up, and that was the main thing. And I was never really, I mean, I loved music when I was in middle school. Like, I never knew I wanted to be into rap, though. Like, even when I got into rap, like, my main thing with hip hop is, like, I loved hip hop dance. And I was like, yo, I just want to fucking just rip. I mean, I didn't necessarily want to be, that wasn't my aspiration to grow up and be, like, a full-time, like, hip hop, like, dance choreographer.
Did you
like,
take
dancer
dance
or anything
lessons?
like that? No, my older brother, Nico, we watched Stomp the Yard, and he was like, I want to learn how to step. And then like we realized that like stepping, like when you're just by yourself, like
Yeah.
it just sounds dumb as fuck because you're just like, and there's when you're not in a group and like
Yeah.
somebody's not like overseeing it, it's like terrible. So like he kind of was just like, all right, stepping's not it, but he was like, hip hop dance is sick. So he got into it, and you know, I pretty much like looked up to my brother my whole life, so I like copied a lot of the shit that he did when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I also really got into hip hop dance, and really the only thing that I did with music is or writing, for that matter, was I was really into poetry. So it was like rhythmic poetry. It was kind of, I would say it resembled like kind of like slam poetry. And I was just, you know, I was like a very angsty, moody adolescent. And I've always been like a hopeless romantic, even when I was like a kid. So I just wrote that shit out. Like I would literally write it in my notebooks, and yeah, that's what it started with. And of course at that point, like I had fully moved away from the whole like rock genre shit when it came to like listening to my own music. Like I mostly just listened to like the rap that my brother was illegally downloading for me onto my iPod.
LimeWire, baby.
Yeah, man. But I don't know, in middle school
awesome.
I kind of started to push back into different genres just because there was so much that I hadn't heard. Like I like longboarded and skated and stuff like that in neighborhoods with my friends, so I started to kind of tap into reggae for like the summers and stuff, and that's how I actually got introduced to the Dirty Heads when I was a kid. Like I had found the song Stand Tall on the movie Surf's Up. It was like one of my favorites. Still,
Dude, I love that movie.
Still
man.
like top 5. Like
that
no
movie
doubt.
is brilliant.
No doubt. That is I love how it's such a fun movie for kids, and then you grow up and you realize it's all about like self-discovery, and you're like, yo, this movie's pretty deep.
Incredible
actually.
movie.
And I love how it's like filmed like a
It's
documentary.
like a documentary.
That's so sick.
Friggin' penguins
That's
surfing.
so sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when I started to tap into like other music, and I don't know. I think the way that my music is now, I think that people are under the impression that I'm gonna have, like, I grew up on some like really fucking good music, and like to be honest, like I listen to a lot of weird shit.
Like what?
One of my favorite artists going through middle school. Do you know who Hobson is?
Yeah. Absolutely. I know who Hobson is.
Yeah, I can't stand Hobson now. Like I'm like I'm not
Interesting.
like I'm like not into his music at all.
Dude, oh man, I remember I was obsessed with Hobson for a second.
Dude, I was like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. It was
What was the name? He had some kind of like a series or a.
so he had a collective called Funk Volume. Is that what you're talking about?
No, there's something
There are
else.
a couple of rappers in
I
that.
want to say like
Oh,
there
the
was
Ill Minds. Yeah,
Ill
the
Minds. Yes. Dude,
Yeah.
what happened to Hobson, man?
I don't know. Once I started to like mature, I kind of realized I was like, man, this guy still raps about some crazy shit. And I'm like, he needs some like serious like therapy or like internal work done. And like, he's not getting it done. And I didn't realize shit like that until my teens. Cause when you're a kid, like you don't think about that. You're just like, these are adults. Like they're saying cool stuff and I like it. And then once you start to get older, you're like, why is this 30-year-old still relating to like 12-year-old kids? Like that's like it's not necessarily like a good thing.
Oh my god.
So yeah, dude, I listen to like a bunch of like weird fucking hip hop. It was like Tech Nine and Hobson, and I mean anything related to Hobson. So that was nice because to some degree, like that's how I found like Dizzy Wright, and I was into Dizzy Wright for a little while. But it was just like a lot of like that like darker shit. And then at the same time, I'd be listening to like Owl City. Like I would like go into like Owl City's discography and was like,
oh my goodness.
like because their lead singer is like Christian, and like on his own time, like he would like write like Christian music, and I would be like, this is the only Christian music I like to listen to, and I was like,
wild.
Yeah, so it was like I have a really weird history of like influences.
Were you big on Tyler the Creator?
No, I hated Tyler the Creator because Hobson was so like
Really?
anti-Wolfgang. And Hobson was my favorite rapper.
Dude, I still remember the first time that I saw the music video where he's like coughing up the like cockroaches.
Oh, Yonkers, yeah.
Yonkers?
Yeah.
Dude, I remember seeing that music. I was probably in like 7th grade, 8th grade. And I just thought that was the craziest shit I'd ever seen in my life.
I mean, it was like that was some wild shit. That was like some like Ozzy Osbourne shit. Like that was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I love Tyler
to some
Creator.
degree. Yeah, I love Tyler now too.
That
But at the time I was blinded and I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Although Yonkers was my favorite beat to freestyle over.
Oh shit.
And whenever like I did used to
So were you freestyling in middle school?
Yeah. So before I started
Okay.
writing raps, like I did like I would start freestyling and shit like that just because like my brother and his friends would do it, and sometimes when I would like tag along, they'd be like, let's freestyle, and I was like so bad at it. But then me and my friends got into it like a little bit more, so it was I don't know, it gradually became more like a bigger part of my life. And then I started just, I can't remember what like the first, so I used SoundCloud a lot at the time, and there was this producer on there called, I think his name was Feverkin, and he would make like a lot of like different like moody instrumentals, but they're like really cool instrumentals. Like it wasn't just the same thing like the whole time. And I got to a certain point where I was like, yo, like I could like take my poetry and put it over top of it. And I was like, well, I got to rhyme the whole time if I'm going to do that. So I was like, oh, well, this is just like writing music. And then I would like, once I started doing that, I started occasionally, if I would find a song on the radio, I'd be like, yo, I got to write a verse to this. Like, I feel like I could write a really good verse to this.
Interesting.
And so I would keep it to myself. Like I never recorded any of this stuff. And then I didn't start properly recording stuff until my senior year of high school. So the OGs, Will, who's also known as Kaz, and KOTB, Kaz on the boards, and Nathaniel Oku. Will is like one of my main producers still. I use him for like, even if I have somebody else produce the track, like fantastic mixing engineer. So we're always talking music. Nathan I'm still in touch with, and we're still boys, but he doesn't work on music quite as much as he used to. But he's still like really, really gifted and like played a big part in just like having a group of people that you can collaborate with and like check in with, like, is this good or is this bad, and like what should we do for this track. And we were constantly just like working on new music together. So I knew that I wanted to make music by the time I was probably like 17. I went and I saw my favorite artist at the time, Kyle, like aka Super Duper Kyle, the one that does I Spy.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was like my favorite artist throughout high school, I would probably say. And I went and I saw him live, and it was on like a college trip. And on my way back, my mom was like asking me like, oh, like you've seen all these cool schools, like what do you think you want to like major in?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really know, but like I kind of want to be like a performer. Like I want to be like a performing artist. Like I want to like rap and record music. And I was like, I know this sounds kind of crazy because we just saw my favorite artist live. So of course I'm going to say that. But like, I was like, that was like really fucking sick. Wow. And she was like, okay. And I don't know, she didn't have some like aggressive response to it where it was like, that's a pipe dream, or like she wasn't, but she was also not, you're 16, 17 at the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you can only like say so much. So like, at that point, like we didn't really talk about it that much because it was like, she probably thought I was just like exploring options like in my head.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do yet because I didn't know what I wanted to do at that time. And honestly, I didn't even try to fully pursue music until I was 18 or 19. It was like my first year in college. And I was like following really my only goal in college was to just study abroad at some point. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I was just like, I just want to go somewhere.
Yeah. Did you end up studying abroad?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Shit, man.
Yeah, it kind of sucked. Yeah.
What happened? Why not?
Well, I transferred. So I went to UMass Amherst my first year. And I had like a lot of fun there, but I was like, this is not the place where I'm supposed to be for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I also was like, I want to be somewhere where I can do a music program. But I didn't know, I'd applied to so many schools when I was like coming out of high school that I was like, I don't want to apply to that many schools again. I don't want to do that many applications. Like I'm gonna pick 4 schools we're just gonna go with those. And if it comes down to my safety, I'll go to my safety. So I went to my safety,
Yeah.
which is York College, of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I did not like it there whatsoever. Like
Dang.
I like actually like, I think I had like really high expectations for college because I did. So when I transferred from, I also had switched from public school to private school so my sophomore year was my last year of public school, and then I switched to this private school for my last 2 years that I got a scholarship to, and I had a great time there. Like I think a lot of people
heard you were playing lacrosse.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's not what I got a scholarship for, but like, yeah.
Oh no.
No. I mean, you're not allowed to. You're like in high
interesting.
school, you're not allowed to give out athletic scholarships.
Interesting. Okay.
It can kind of influence your academic scholarship. I don't know if it did or not. I think some people like to believe that, but like, I was a good lacrosse player. I was not like fucking insane, but like, I could have played college ball. I was like, I feel like I'm gonna have to actually focus on it. I'm gonna have to take time out of my life and really pay attention to it if I want to be as good as like if I want to continue to improve and like not get like cut from the team and shit. And I was like, I don't really want to do that. I just want to like work on music.
Yeah.
So
did you feel pretty conflicted your time in college, like torn between school and music?
Yeah, dude. It was and there was a lot of shit. There were a lot of frustrations at York in particular. UMass, I was still figuring out like myself and what I wanted and my aspirations and my goals, like what I wanted for my life, like the type of people I wanted to surround myself with and stuff like that. Is that all right? I just wanted to.
Should be.
Okay. Yeah, I just like to.
Yeah, we're chilling.
I just like to double check.
No, I appreciate that. This is
There's a
actually
little
like
ADHD there. I was
my
like,
first time like doing the podcast on this computer, but this is the better computer.
Oh, sick.
This whole
That's
time,
great news.
I've done like 40 plus podcasts on like the not as good computer, which is kind of whack.
Damn. Well,
so this thing should be.
That thing's kicking, man.
This should be amazing.
I like it.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Fuck. But yeah, like York was. It provided a lot of different challenges for a lot of different reasons. The year that I transferred, I'd never really been depressed in my life. Like I had times where I felt lonely, I had times where I was sad and shit like that. But like, I had never been depressed before, and I was like, "This is great." Like I'm just like the type of person that just doesn't get depressed. So I was like, "Lucky me." And but like the year that I transferred, like that first semester was just like brutal. Like I was like
from York to UMass.
No, from UMass to York.
To York. Okay.
So yeah, I was at UMass my freshman year, and then I did 5 years of college. So I was at UMass my first year, and then the other 4 years were entirely at York.
Got it.
Yeah. So that first year was really rough because I was just trying to like get out of that, and I felt like I had just like kind of like lost sight of myself. Like I felt like I like had entirely lost my identity, which is like, not really a good thing.
Yeah.
For a lot of different reasons. Like I had gotten out of like a really, really unhealthy relationship. So I was trying to figure out like what it meant to be to like be single and be on my own again without like hopping into another relationship right away. And I was trying to do that, but I was like, I don't really know how to do this shit. Like this sucks. Cause I was with that girl for a couple years. And I started to like really lean into like, I didn't love the whole like party, like Greek life thing, but I leaned into it just cause I didn't really know what else to do with my time.
Were you part of a frat?
No.
You showed up to the frat parties.
Yeah.
Just ready to rock and roll.
I usually didn't get in. At least my first year. Eventually down the road, I made friends with a lot of the guys, and Greek life wasn't like outrageous. Like the culture wasn't outrageous at York. So like it got to a point where I was like an upperclassman that, I just went over to my friends' houses because they were having parties and shit. Yeah. But at first I was just like, it was like paying to like get in like parties and shit like that. Like just like dumb shit like that. Cause you're just like, you're still a kid and you're just like, I just want to like be out and meet people and shit. This seems like the only viable way to do it. And I developed like a terrible dependency on weed. Where it got to a point where I was just like, if I wasn't high, I like wasn't happy. And I was just like, oh, this like sucks. Like, so that was, thank God it was weed, like that's like my main thing.
Yeah, I mean,
out of all the drugs, thank
worse.
God it was weed. Yeah.
Honestly, weed over alcohol for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I still abused alcohol, but it was not my drug of choice.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, well, let's get crossed tonight. Those are even better.
Oh my
I do
God.
love getting cross. Cross is fun. But at the time, it was like it was not in moderation whatsoever. It's in
Yeah.
moderation now. And like one of my good friends had like also like passed away, like that, like a kid that I went to school with at Mercersburg Academy. And it was like a whirlwind of so many things all at once. And you're in the middle of trying to like figure out like what it means to be an adult, because like that college is such a like big like growth like period of that. So it was a lot. And that was kind of like how I started off, and it was rough. But it resulted in, I had dropped other projects before it, but this is really like my first EP, which is called Come Alive at Night. And it definitely reflects that darkness that was in my life, but it's like underground hip hop and dark R&B influence. Is pretty much like all 6 songs, but it was the best music that like
Did you make the
ever
beats,
made.
or did you?
No. Will primarily made the beats, and then Oku like assisted on them, on a couple of them.
Yeah.
I had a couple that I came up with like the main like melody for it, but everything else was produced by them. Like at that point, like I had no idea how to produce whatsoever. I was trying to figure it out. I didn't get Ableton until I was 18.
Yeah.
And I didn't use it for like the first like I used it for the first like month I had it, and then I just did not touch it for like 6 months. I was like, fuck production, it's too hard.
Yeah.
I was like, at least I tried. I have it now.
It's a learning curve for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
What is your process like when it comes to writing?
There's a lot of solitude involved, which I mentioned that last time that like I was here. Like, I don't really. I like to just sit by myself. Usually in the evenings. Usually late at night, not in the evenings. Usually like late at night.
Yeah.
And I have the beat that I want to like work on, and we chilling.
Yeah. I was just making sure this thing is still going. Sometimes I get so paranoid about it because I'm like,
Because you like can't see the end of it. You're like,
I mean, it looks like it is.
I mean, it's still,
It's clicking away.
those numbers are moving.
Those numbers, I don't know why it's not like following along.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to.
Oh,
What's up?
oh, what's this?
I just forgot to do the auto tracking thing.
This mouse is also like, oh, there we go. This mouse is so high tech. Look at this thing. It's like anyways.
That's crazy. Is it Apple? Yeah, it is. Of
It's
course it fucking is. Yeah, I was like, there's like nothing on it. No
Oh my
wonder.
God. Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, dude. I wanted to check too because I was a little worried myself.
I get so worried because there's been a couple times where something's gotten like messed up.
Oh yeah.
Which like a couple times out of like 40, I think this is the 44th podcast. This one right now.
Damn. I didn't realize you've done that many.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's impressive.
Road to
honestly.
100. Road to 100, baby.
That's fucking awesome.
Heading there.
You said 44th?
This is the 44th, I think.
44th.
Pretty sure, yeah.
44 is a great number.
It's crazy.
I like that.
It's crazy. But there was one time where the whole thing got corrupted.
Oh, dude.
Heartbreaking.
That I was about to say.
But
Heartbreak.
I had a backup.
Heartbreak.
And then there was another one where like a tiny bit got cut. And I don't know what happened, but we're good. We're chilling. But I think, dude, honestly, I just need to trust this computer.
Yeah, dude, that thing, it looks like a beast.
This is a brand new computer.
Oh, shit, I see it down there now.
This thing is...
That's gorgeous.
I just need to trust.
Nice little rectangle. Square.
So, solitude.
Oh, yeah.
But does
Back
it
to that.
start like when you're writing, do you start with the beat and then you write over a beat, or do you just have like lyrics in your head or a melody or a hook and then you try to like make that work with a beat?
More often than not, it is I already have a beat that I really like. And I really vibe with.
Yeah.
So I don't know, let's just say like with your song, like if I had not written it like here in front of you and you just like sent me
The
like
track.
Yeah, like a voice memo of that track, like and we're like, yo, I want like this many bars on it.
Yeah.
Like I would sit with it. And for rapping, it's different because, of course, with singing, it's like I'm starting with the melody, and I'm trying to find the melody first. It's like or like fucking whatever it is, and then I'm like filling that in with like words that like feel right. So it's like a balance of like feeling and like when I'm looking for the lyrics, it's a balance of does this feel right? Like, does this feel right in my heart? Does this feel right, like, emotionally? But also, like, does this sound right? Like, does this sound, if I heard this and it wasn't me, like, would I think this is corny? Like, would
Right.
I think that this is gimmicky? Would I think that this, like, would it come off as just recycled
Yeah.
and sound like everything else? And I don't put that at the forefront because it's so important to start with your line and maintain your focus on the direction in which you're going rather than being like, I don't want to sound like that. I don't want to sound like this. Because that's what I did when I was younger. Like when I started like my musical journey, I knew I was good and I thought that I was better than I was. I knew I had a lot of potential, but like I still thought that I was better than I was. And I think that a big reason why it took me a little while to improve is I spent so much time in this area of comparison. And it was constant, whether it was on Instagram, like how can I like change my look to like look cooler, or like how can I get my numbers up. I was constantly doing, because Spotify for artists had this feature where you could look up any artist. And
you could compare.
And I think they still have that.
I remember that,
I
dude.
never fucking use that if they do. But
Yeah.
like, dude, I used to do that on a regular basis, and I would do it with my friends too. Like I would literally be on there and I'd be like, all right, let me look at my shit. And then I would like type in like Nathan's name and I'd be like,
Yeah.
fuck, Nathan's numbers are better than mine. And it was just like this constant like comparison
Yeah.
game. And like, I think one of the influences that stuck with me from the whole, which I never really thought about this until right now, but I think one of the influences that stuck with me from the whole like Hobson era is that Hobson, what I loved about him when I was a kid was like, it felt like this rebellious, like, I'm not going to do what everybody else is fucking doing. But when you try so hard to do that, you're still not making music that's true to you, because you're being like a lot of, like your shaping and your construction is still coming from external sources.
Right.
And it's not coming from you. And it's definitely not coming from God, because you're looking at other people. I think spirituality is another thing that I've like pulled into my music a lot more, which has been crucial. I feel like the more that I lean into that, the better music I make. And, you know, I'm not out here writing gospel songs. I'm not out here writing like Christian music that you're going to be hearing in church on Sunday. But, you know, God is like God is who gave me this gift. And I feel like leaning into that and like building that relationship is like important to like that process entirely.
What does that look like to lean into it?
I'm still figuring that out. I'm very fortunate that I have Nico as an older brother, because he has just been, you know, he was always like a great role model growing up. But when he really shifted his perspective of like what Jesus looks like and what God looks like in the context of Christianity, and like what Jesus was supposed to be before it got skewed by all of these like different like mega pastors and shit like that, and like all like a lot of that, because we were around a lot of that like growing up. You know, we were always hopping from church to church, and I'm actually grateful that we were. Like that my parents wanted to do that. Whenever my parents were like, this isn't right, like we would leave. And that sucked. That sucks when you're a kid, because you finally make friends. You're like, fuck these, like I don't want to leave. But I'm glad that we did that, because my parents never, that was one thing, like they never settled with their spirituality. So I'm really grateful for them as well. But leaning into God, I'm trying to figure it out right now. I've been, with my unemployment lately, like that's been like fantastic actually, because I've had time, and my roommate being gone, like Tiago's been in Europe for a couple of weeks, so it's like I've had the place to myself, and I'm like, man, like when was the last time, because I lived by myself my last year in York, so I had a lot of time to do that, and I had a lot of time to just like pray and meditate and listen to sermons and reflect on what type of growth I wanted in my life, whether it was like human or like spiritual. But that is that's something that I'm working on.
Yeah. Is that part of the content of your lyrics? Like, do you rap about like elements of your faith or elements of your spirituality?
Yeah, I would say so. That's like one of my favorite, like, it's still in like a cool way, not like some like corny way, but like I love when I have like a hard rap song and I have some like bars in it about like I love to like brag about like being connected to God. Like, I think that's just like so cool that I don't have to brag about like some girl that I had sex with that I'll never speak to again. Like, that's not, there's nothing that's like, that's not life-giving at all. And there are still aspects that for certain songs, like Swangin' is like a great example of a song. Like, that song's like, that's really fun. And I'm talking about like my wristwatch and like shit like that. But I'm still like, I'm not doing it in a way that's like, fuck you guys for not having this. Like, you should feel bad about yourself for not having this. I'm just like, I look good. Like, I feel cool right now. Like, this is like, I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
So, I don't even know where I was going with that. I sometimes I just, I start a thought and it's
No,
just
man,
like,
it's all good.
But like with like the whole like solitude thing and, like that writing process is, I've definitely really leaned into feeling my emotions more as an artist, which they were always there. That was always a big part of my artistry because I'm a pretty emotional person. But with songs like Ultra, like I don't rap in that song at all. Like, that's just me like singing and like really, really going for it. And that day I was supposed to like go to church and I was like, I was at my house and my parents went to one church and I was going to another at the time. It was like prior to me moving out to LA and I was supposed to go to this church and I was like, man, I should go today. And I was like, dude, I just feel like I gotta like really like tap into this and like figure this out.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I'm so grateful that I did because I love that song. And a lot of people, when they hear that song, especially when I do it live, they're like, I felt that like so much. And every time, especially when I do that song live, every time I'm doing it, it's like I have to like revisit that. And I think that is like a whole nother conversation that we could go into. And it we don't necessarily have to do it right now, but like with the double-edged sword of artistry in a way where sometimes you have stuff to say that you've kind of already moved on from.
Totally.
But it's still, you still have to say it. I just wrote a song like that like literally the other night. I felt like I was trying to write this verse like the past like 6 months probably about, and it was like my heart like felt like so heavy. And at the time, like I wrote probably like 5 different verses on like 5 different beats. And it was just like, I was like, I'm glad that I'm doing this. I think this is good for me. But like, none of these songs are getting dropped. Like, none of these are right. None of these are what I'm looking for. So I just stopped trying to force it. And then the other night, I was just like up like hella late. And I was like, I was going to write over like an old school. Like, I've definitely been on like an old school like sample kick with like going back to rap and shit like that.
Sick.
And I found like this like kind of melancholy piano loop. And I was like, I'm going to make a beat over this. And then I looped it twice, and I was like, I'm not going to make a beat over this. I'm just going to write over this piano. And that was like beautiful. But it was also like, in a way, it is a little bit painful because you have to revisit those things. And like, I'm already past that, but it's like, I gotta tap back into this right now. Like, this is crucial for my artistry. So, that's it.
One thing I'm curious about is, on the one hand, you have this faith, this like spirituality that's like really important to you. On the other hand, you have this kind of presentation, demeanor, like the way that you talk, the way that you live, that might not necessarily like fit the traditional paradigm of like somebody who goes to church.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like do you ever experience pushback at all from people in that community when it comes to that, or like the intersection of your spirituality and your music? Like, is there ever friction there?
There used to be a lot, just because I thought that rap, in particular, like when it came to music, I thought that rap, like, it had to be vulgar. Like, it had to be like saying like just some crazy shit, because there's like a lot of wild shit that's said in rap, and it's the same in like rock and roll and like shit like that too. Like, that's across like a lot of different genres, but especially in rap, I was like, I felt like it had to be this certain way. So I was not how do I say this the right way? I didn't really fine tune any of the areas or like pay quite as much attention to the things that I was saying and like how that reflected like what I actually believed in. Not even like faith, just like morals and values. Like in my music because I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a fucking rap song. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
And so like with my parents and shit, they especially they were like, they used to like really, really not fuck with my music, and they thought that I had potential, and they thought that I was
Yeah.
like good, but they were like, yeah, like they would hear some of my stuff, and I would even tell them, I'd be like, don't listen to it,
Yeah.
and they'd be like, we're not gonna not listen to it, like you're
Mhm.
a kid, and like we want to hear the stuff that you're making,
Yeah.
but like we're just telling you like. This is like, this is like not like good, and like you can say
Oh,
what you want,
no.
sure, but like this is like not like we're telling you like this is like not like good. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, like, I was just like being a kid, and I was just like whatever.
As kids do.
Yeah, as you do, fucking teenagers, man. But they've grown a lot with it, and now it's like I think my music is definitely at a point where it's like it doesn't matter if I, you know, cuss in it. It doesn't matter like necessarily what I say, because like
Mhm.
I'm aware of how I view my own faith, and I'm aware of my own values,
Mhm.
and I think that oftentimes that's reflected, and I'm sure in a couple years I'll have some songs that I come back to and I revisit, and I'm like, man, that was like immature to like say stuff like that, but that
Mhm.
just shows growth. And I think that
Yeah.
music should reflect that. Like, I think one of the most frustrating things with artists that you really look up to and that you have a lot of respect for is when you've grown over years and you expect them to do the same thing,
Hmm.
and they don't do that. And not even as like a shot or anything like that, but like Drake is definitely like one of those people who has really frustrated me in that sense, because even when he was writing music that was like very fueled by anger,
Mhm.
like it was still like so like true, like you could hear that in the music. Even when he was saying stuff that might be slightly like immature, it was like it was coming from a place of like authenticity. And I
Yeah.
feel like so much of his music is just like, it's not about growth. Like, it's not about, and it, like, you know, not everybody has to be a conscious rapper. Like,
Yeah.
I don't expect the entire fucking industry to change just because I'm some guy that's like, well, I don't make music like that, so you shouldn't either. But
Yeah.
like with Drake, it's like, it's just tough because like, I don't see any maturation in it. Like, I don't
Mhm.
see any authenticity where I used to feel it in almost like every single song off of each album, and it was like,
Yeah.
that's
It's not as much of a journey
No.
with Drake. It's
No.
a lot of the same kind of stuff. Whereas you take somebody like Ye, Kanye West, and you can see the journey.
yeah, all over the place.
It's like
It's everywhere.
you go from friggin' Donda moving backwards in time through all these different moments in his life
Yeah,
and all these different like eras that he's been in.
yeah,
And you see this total transformation.
yeah, and it's much more of a ride. And yeah, I don't know. I want, with my music, I want it to reflect that, and like the sound has changed a lot too. Like, I know like what you were talking about earlier, like kind of revisiting that question just to like touch on it just a little bit, like how my music is a lot more like bluesy now and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like, dude, I didn't know shit about the blues like probably 2 years ago. I didn't know
Mhm.
a single thing. And then one of my best friends from back home, like he is always tapped into like great, like just the best old music.
Mm.
And he put me on to like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and like I knew who like BB King was and shit like that, but I had never actually like
Mhm.
gone back and explored the discography.
Yeah.
And I just got I'm like obsessed with the blues now. Like I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with blues guitar and and like classic rock. And
I saw one of your Instagram videos. You were playing the guitar because I think didn't you just get a new guitar?
no, so the black Strat that I've been playing in those videos is Tiago's.
Mhm.
I do have it's like,
It wasn't a Strat though in the video. I feel like it was a hollow body.
oh shit, yeah, no, that's my that's a guitar I brought out here. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I
sick.
bought
Hell yeah.
that. I bought that off of my producer right before I moved out here, because I just started to learn to play the guitar,
Yeah.
and then I moved out here, and I would always put it back in its case, and
Mhm.
like I didn't get better for like from the time that I started learning how to play guitar. I improved probably in that first month, and then I would practice maybe once a week. Like
Yeah.
that's being generous when I moved out here because I would just throw it back in his case. And then finally I was just like, yo, like I'm tired of like not being as good at guitar as like I want to be. And
Yeah.
I still have a long road ahead of me because I had a late start. But I love guitar. And
Do you ever perform with guitar?
I have not yet. No, I
Okay.
need to get like some cleaner tones on it, like a little bit. I'm just like kind of like the way that I'm fretting and stuff like that. I'm not always getting the cleanest tones, and like guitar is like I'm always like a little bit like shaky just in general, like my hands. So like I think that like I need to do stuff like open mics and shit like that where I'm just like I'm gonna cover this song like I love one of my favorite songs to like perform on guitar just when I'm chilling by myself is Rock Salt and Nails by Tyler Childers.
Okay.
I love that song. That song is just, oh, it's so pretty.
Dude, you got to do some open mics, man.
Yeah, so I got to get into doing some open mics so I get a little comfier with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my acoustic. It's it's a Godin. It's Fifth Avenue Kingpin. Yeah, I think
Nice.
that's the whole name of it. Yeah.
What was the music scene like on the East Coast when you were in New York? Would you get to play like many open mics or like do many shows there?
So I was actually signed to the like college record label while I was at York. So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a good experience with understanding how to collaborate with other people that you wouldn't normally collaborate with,
Yeah.
and being involved in a lot of because a lot of it in York it's like a lot of rock, and it's either like singer-songwriter or it's like kind of like punk influenced rock, like indie, more like indie shit. But the record label thing was it was challenging. Yeah.
What was challenging about it, man?
Dude, I want to be respectful when I say this. Some of the people that were in charge and that were, because it was also like it was overseen by staff, but it was still student run.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had their own ideas about timelines and their own ideas about they weren't quite as invested about how the music should sound, but they wouldn't be involved in the creative process at all. And then they would come in and they'd be like, why is it not done yet? Like, why is the tape not done yet? Like, and like, I literally had people like say to me like, oh, like the only reason we can't like release this on your timeline is because the work ethic's not there. And I was like, you have no fucking clue like
Dang.
what it takes to make a project as good as the project that I'm making. And like that project still like my last project blows that one that I made with the record label out of the water. But the only way that that me and Will were able to make a project that good is like we had to like thank God for COVID, honestly, because we got some time to separate ourselves from being in the studio with those people. And there were a couple people on the record label that were like very supportive and were just like we believe, like we trust you and what you're doing, and like we're just here to like help you get better. So like whatever you need, like let us know, and like we're gonna push you in these ways. So thank goodness for those people. But there were quite a few people that they just had their own say, and I was like, dude, like you haven't been involved with the music since the start. Like don't think that you're just gonna come in and just like have a say and like what the music is going to sound like now, or like when I'm going to drop it. And I know that's kind of, that's a part of the rec label, but I was also like, yo, it's student run. Like it's not like you guys are like a major label and it's like actually important for me to drop it by this date and there was some frustration because I hate rushing. Like something that I did early on that I grew from and I learned about like going forward with music is I'd be like, I set this date for myself, so I got to get it out. And if it wasn't ready, like I would just rush it, and then I would have like, if it's a 6-song EP, I would have 4 out of those 6 songs was like, they're good, they're fucking awesome, and then the other 2 I'd be like, this is a skip, man. And like I go back and I'd be like I can listen through it and still appreciate it because it was my stuff, and I saw the amount of work that went into it, but I was like, this is a skip. Yeah. And there were songs that were just not ready, and they were like, they wanted to like announce like their like next like signed artist, and so they were like, it's got to be done by this date. I was like, well, fuck me, I guess. So
Dang.
that's kind of what happened with that. But
What was their deal like?
like the contract.
Yeah, that they offered you. Like, how did it work? A student-run record label? I've actually never heard of that.
Dude, I can't even fully remember like what all the terms were and stuff like that. I mean, of course, like I retained like all my masters and shit like that. That wouldn't even that wouldn't even been like we would have
Yeah.
if we wouldn't have retained the masters, like that wouldn't even been an option. So of course, like to that extent, like there were a lot of clauses in play that you probably wouldn't see if you were like signing to like a big record label.
Mm. How did it even come about? How did you get signed to this record label?
There was like a music group that was like a club on campus, and they worked directly with the record label.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those people were involved in the record label as well.
Mm-hmm.
And my roommate, he was fully involved in the music industry and recording technologies program, like the actual like degree program. So he had like a friend that had told him about it. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were like, we're looking for somebody new because we've only signed like rock artists in the past.
Interesting.
So yeah, I went, tried it out, and yeah, we got to do a lot of performances through it up until COVID, of course, which was great. They were mostly just like, it would be like a bar or like a music conference. Like we would get plugged in there just in like the South Central PA area. So we did a lot of stripped down versions of like we didn't use a backing track at all, which I still eventually want to get to the point. I just can't really afford to like contract and like play out like specific like musicians to have like a 4-piece band right now, but that's eventually what I want to get back to. But for financial reasons, it just makes the most sense for just to kind of sell my act right now. Just
Dude,
me
it's
and
tough,
Tiago.
man. It's tough. Bands are
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
Bands are super expensive.
And but in a way that's also forced me to just like really push my performing skills to another level. Cause I'm like, look, like I'm dealing with backing tracks. Like that's how it is. A lot of rappers use backing tracks at their shows. And a lot of rappers just like rap over their own shit these days, which I don't even know where that came from. Like I don't even know what started that, but like it's literally just like the song and they're just rapping along with it. And I'm like, that's
so weird.
That's not performing.
It's so weird.
That's laughable.
That's karaoke on your own music.
Yeah, essentially. And so I was like, I have these backing tracks. Like I know that I'm not going to have a band. Like everything that I do needs to be like over the top. Like not necessarily like my image and shit like that, but when it comes to the actual performance, like everything needs to be locked in. It needs to be clean. It needs to be like perfect.
Yeah.
So when I prep for my shows, like I keep that in mind. Like I'm just like I want people to come out to these shows and be like, oh, he's doing it over a backing track, and kind of just be like, oh, well, this is gonna be a rap concert, and then just blow their expectations out of the water. So it's been really good for me actually as a performer. Like it's pushed me a lot.
What are some of those techniques that you use to really make it a special performance?
I don't even know, man. I mean, I try to get the crowd involved, but sometimes it's out of your hands. Sometimes it's out of your control. Like you can be killing it and you might not be able to get people involved. Like at the last show that I had, like people weren't quite as involved as the show I had done in March, where like the show that I did in March at El Cid, like I mean it was a lot of friends and like people within like the network, like, you know, mutual connections and shit like that. So everybody came out to like see it and was very excited for me because it was my first show. It wasn't the first time I had performed in LA, but it was like my first show.
Yeah.
So that show was like I was also on a stage in that show, whereas at the last concert I was like eye level with everyone.
Yeah.
So I try to be understanding of it as well. Like I'm a very empathetic person, so I try to be like, you know, like if people don't want to move in, like if they don't want to like get closer and like jump around, like I get it. Like I don't want to make you uncomfortable at my show. Like I like that. Like you're here to watch me perform. Like I'd love, that'd be great to like get you more involved. But like, you know, if you're not comfortable with that, then that's all right.
Yeah.
But as for like techniques, like I don't know, man. I just prepping for the show, making sure that every single, like knowing where I have to breathe in the song, making sure that I'm like, you know, in good enough like physical, like cardiovascular shape to actually be able to like do the set 100% and not be like exhausted like halfway through the set. Cause like 50 minutes of your own music is a lot,
Yeah.
especially when you're like moving around and shit. And you
Yeah.
go from rapping to just suddenly like you're like singing, and it's like breathing control is like a big thing. So doing my vocal exercises, which I don't keep up with them quite as much as I should when I don't have like shows lined up, which is something that I definitely want to work on and just have a little bit more discipline about. Just I want to be able to I like if somebody was like, I need you to do your whole set for me tomorrow night, like it's kind of like like ever since the Dirty Head show, like I was like, thank God that we had this show, because everybody else was like, oh, that's got to be stressful. Like you got your own show and then you got the Dirty Heads thing to like worry about the next day, and like that's like a lot of nerves. And I'm like, yeah, but like you got to take it like piece by piece. Like I was hyped for the Dirty Heads show, but I also wanted to make sure that my mind wasn't already there the night of the show. And I'm glad that people were excited for me.
Yeah.
But like I was kind of like, I don't really want to talk about this tonight. Like when I'm done performing, I'm gonna be around. We're gonna be drinking and stuff. Like ask me whatever you want to ask me. But like for the sake of like actually being present and being in this moment, it's like I really have to focus on this. And I was, like I said, like thank God that I had that show literally the day before the Dirty Head show. Because even though I was only on stage for, I don't know, a minute and a half, like 2 minutes, it's like I wanted it to be perfect. Like I wanted it to be locked in, and I was already in the performing mindset. Like I was already in that like headspace where I was like ready to go and ready to give my absolute best, even if it was only for like a minute and a half. But after that show, I was like, man, I got to be ready to go like literally whenever, because if I get, it's not the most likely scenario, but if for some reason like some artist that had like a much bigger following than me was like, yo, I need you to open for me tomorrow, like somebody canceled, I gotta be ready. I can't go into that and be like, oh fuck dude, like my set's not ready, because like I'm not gonna say no to that. I'm not gonna say no to an opportunity like that. But
you never know when those opportunities are gonna come up. You got to be ready to take them at a moment's notice.
So that's been something I've been keeping in mind as well lately.
How did you learn to perform?
I mean, I was always like in front of crowds from a young age. Like I used to do I was always really good with memorization. So growing up in the church and stuff, like I would memorize like verses, and dude, when I was like 4.
John 3:16.
Yeah, well, dude, I was memorized. Like I did like Awana and stuff like that, and I was I was like, when I would memorize these verses, I was like, I want it to be perfect. Like I was like, I don't want to miss or like skip like a single word. Like I was like, I want this verse to be like perfect when I have to recite it to whoever's listening. and
that's so funny.
Yeah, and like even dude, when I was like 4, like the pastor of the church we were at like asked me to come up and recite all the books of the Bible, like Old and New Testament.
Nice.
And I couldn't do that.
4 years old?
Yeah, I was 4, bro. And I went up there and I just ripped it, and I was like, let's fucking go. Of course I didn't say that. I didn't start cussing so much later in life, but so that's kind of how it started, with getting used to like being in front of people. And then I was in like choir and like show choir in middle school, and then with like hip hop dance, like I was a part of this program called Hood Hop, which was like different like neighborhoods across the town that I lived in over the summer. Like they would have people come in to like teach choreography, and then everybody would perform at like the end of the summer.
Nice. Hood Hop.
Yeah, it was sick. It was awesome. It was like all like hip hop dance. So
that's tight.
Hip hop dance definitely helped with it. And then I did in high school I was involved in the dance program there a little bit as well. Like and then I did this thing called declamation, which is like this big thing where the school, it's a little bit too much to explain right now, but essentially like it was like this very big deal there, and a couple people get selected and you do monologues in front of everyone, and it's very like high stakes, because it's like the last like competition, like competitive thing of a part of like all these other like competitive things where the school is like split into 2 groups and you're like trying to win. So that definitely helped because I had never done any sort of like acting or like anything like that. And I was like, this whole monologue thing was like, but yeah, just everything, like not just music. And honestly, music was like the most nerve-wracking thing to start doing because I didn't used to. It took me a while to grow into my singing voice, and I loved rapping and stuff like that, but like I was singing alongside like Nathan, like, or Oku, like he has an insane voice. And dude, when we would sing next to each other, I would just be like I didn't have the confidence in my voice, and like I was just always so nervous. And we were playing like these little cafes and shit, and like him and Will, like they both like played instruments, so like if they weren't like singing or anything, like they would just do that, and like I had to like figure out other ways to contribute, so I wasn't just this like dude like this like third wheel like standing up there. But yeah, it took me, like doing musical performing was probably the most challenging thing when I first started. I was just like, it made me so nervous. Like I was just constantly nervous. I felt like so vulnerable up on stage, and yeah, I just kept doing it, and then I grew into it, and now I'm like, I feel like I could honestly play anywhere. It's just the matter of like having the fan base to do it. So shout out Dirty Heads for having me out to a fucking massive hometown show, because I was ready for that shit, dog. Like I was like, I thought I didn't know if I was gonna be nervous or not, and I came out of the green room. And they had a bunch of green rooms. There was like, since it was like amphitheater, the green room area was like behind the stage, and it was like this like a courtyard, and then like all around it was like a bunch of different, like it was like a horseshoe of like green rooms. So they went out there to perform, and I was like, I'm just gonna like chill in here and do some breathing and make sure I'm chilling. And then I was like, when I go out there and I see the crowd, I'm gonna know whether I'm gonna be nervous or I'm gonna be ready to get out there. And I saw the crowd, and it was just like, it was like a surge of like electricity through my veins. Yeah. And I was like, yo, let me out. Like, let me out there. Like, I'm ready. So
sick.
Yeah. So now we're at that point where I'm like, I feel like I could play anywhere at any time. So
hell yeah.
It's a great, that's a great feeling coming from being scared to perform at fucking cafes, man.
Totally.
I do like one song at a cafe, and I'm like shaking and shit. I'm like, man, this could go badly.
Yeah.
But not anymore.
You're at the beginning of your artist journey in terms of like blown out perspective. You're still at like the beginning of your life.
100%.
You know, as somebody who is on the beginning of this like hopefully long path, what does it look like to be an artist in this day and age? How does somebody pursue being an artist? How do you make a career out of being an artist? I feel like it's in a way, it's kind of a funny question to ask to somebody who's at like the beginning.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams when you think about that?
Well, I'll start with from my end, and then after I'm done talking about that, I'll say whatever, advice or like whatever I would say to somebody that like is starting that. But for me, like the dream is to be able to just fully financially support myself off of music. I want to have a family one day. Like I want to have a wife and kids and be able to support all of them and be comfortable with it, like not having to be like constantly. And I'm sure that that's not going to happen right away. Like I'm fine with that. Like, me and you both know that like the whole like starving artist thing, it's like you're gonna have no money at some point.
Dude, the starving artist thing is real, man.
And you just got like trusted.
Very true.
So the dream is to be able to tour and like be able to play the music that I write. And like I love writing so much. I love performing too. Performing is definitely up there with the things that I'm passionate about. Like I absolutely love it. It's a great feeling. But I think my number one thing is writing. Like I've always loved to write. Before I got into music, I was like, when I was just doing poetry, like I was like, I'll probably just end up being some, unknown poet at like the end of my life. Like I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, but I'm always going to be writing poetry. Like I was like, so I've always loved writing. So yeah, being able to like share that with people is a really, really wonderful thing. Um, I think down the line, because I always think about like there's gonna come a certain time where like touring is like not not like the forefront of what I want to do. Like when I'm much older.
Mhm.
Although I will say, watching the Dirty Heads do that shit, man, they've been doing it for years,
Mhm.
and they all have families and stuff like that, and like they are still ripping. And so like it's awesome to see. You know, they're not like crazy old or anything. I think they're in like their 40s and shit like that. And like some of the members of the band are a little bit younger than that, but like I see that like there is a way to do it, and there is a way to have success and notoriety and not get so lost in the superficiality and like the temptations of like these stereotypes of what people expect when you're a successful musician,
Mhm.
especially in a genre like that where it's like, you know, it's reggae and stuff, but like they're doing like rap and they're doing like rock influenced songs as well. So it's
Mhm.
like, it's awesome. It's so inspiring to see that there are artists out there that have figured that out and know how to maintain that balance and like still be able to pursue their passion and be successful with it, but like prioritize the things that are really important, like family and
Mhm.
like being in touch and like caring for your loved ones. So I'd love to be at a point like that. I think down the line, like like way beyond that, like I want to really just work, not necessarily like where I'm like producing, like I'm like on the boards or anything like that. I mean, I'd still like to do that because I do like
Mhm.
production, but just like helping people with songwriting, and assisting in like younger artist growth. That like, yeah, and I'd love to again down the line. Like, I don't think I'm ready for this right now, but I would love to be involved in writing music for praise and worship.
Really?
Yeah, because I think that everybody has a pretty set, and this is why I say it's down the line because I don't necessarily know what this will look like for me right now.
Yeah.
But everyone has like a set idea of like what praise and worship music sounds like.
Mhm.
And it all like it's grown a lot in the past couple years for sure. Like there's like a lot better like praise and worship music. But I think that there is still this like untapped area of praise and worship music that is more relatable and more palatable for people that they don't even know if they want to have a relationship with God, or like they don't even know like who God is or like
Mhm.
what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I think that with the type of music I make, I think I do like fully believe that I could find what that is and provide that for people.
Mhm.
And I think in growth, especially spiritual growth, I think that's crucial because so many people connect over music. And you know, some people, they'll go to churches for the first time and they'll be like, man, that sermon was really good, but like the whole like singing thing, like that was just fucking weird. And I'm like, bro, I don't blame you. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, like sometimes like it is like you go in there and you're just like I try to put myself in the shoes of somebody that's like coming to a church for the first time. I'm like, yeah, this part sucks. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
You know, I go to a church where the music is like phenomenal and I
Where do you
love
go to
it.
church?
Expression 58. Yeah.
I'm only laughing because it just like sounds like a hip church in LA.
Dude,
Expression 58.
so awesome.
Break it down for me. Why is it Expression 58?
I actually, definitely not the best,
Uh-oh.
like, definitely not the best representative to be talking about this church at all.
Where's it at?
It's in Glendale.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Expression 58. Should I go?
uh huh.
I should go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they got good coffee?
I mean, they have coffee. I know they have coffee. They have donuts.
That's usually what gets me to church is whether or not they got coffee. Which every church has got coffee, but
I mean, I don't know what type of coffee they have, so I can't.
you're not
speak.
drinking their coffee? You're not a coffee guy.
No, I like coffee. It's just like,
You're a
caffeine.
kombucha guy.
Caffeine. I'm actually not really much of a kombucha guy. But like the
Dude, I love kombucha. I love that brand. I get that
this
all the
flavor
time.
is
Health Aid kombucha. Shout
Bro.
out.
the passion fruit tangerine is.
It's fire.
That's like that. It's so good that it almost shouldn't even be allowed to be a flavor combination. Passion fruit tangerine. That's just ridiculous. It's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only reason. If they wouldn't have had this flavor, when we were at the bodega earlier,
Yeah.
I would have just copped the coffee because I was like, all right, I'm down.
Yeah,
with this
that coffee was pretty solid.
I can't start my day off with coffee though. Caffeine fucks me up
Really?
too much. Yeah, bro.
Dude, I can start and end my day with coffee.
Nah.
Like-
Nah. I like a good like afternoon coffee.
Dude, did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
I feel like I just heard like a boom.
I don't know.
Sometimes downtown, like you'll hear just like a random explosion.
Crazy shit happened. I mean, something probably did happen like that.
You just never know. There was that massive
Probably my
fire.
car.
Dude, brutal. There was that massive fire the other day down here.
Oh yeah.
The one that like shut down the highway. I think the highway's still shut down maybe.
Yeah, it is. I don't know exactly where Alameda Street is, so I just got off
Oh,
like
it's
early.
not far. It's not far away from here.
Oh, well, I should have stayed on then because I was like, I'm just gonna get off early just in case.
Dude, it was crazy, man. This fire was so big. It was like a warehouse fire.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I saw some
And
of the
the
pictures.
flames were like engulfing the highway.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures of like the highway. Like it was fucking with like the actual like structure
Yeah.
of the 10. So that's concerning. My brother called me. He was like, "Yo, are you okay?" And I was like,
Really?
"Yeah." He was like, "I just didn't." He was like, "I figured you were probably on the west side," but he was like, "I didn't know like where you were, so I just wanted to like check."
Dude, that's wild.
And I was like, "Yeah, man, you won't catch me downtown unless I'm doing a podcast."
Unless you're doing a pod, unless I'm trying to wrangle you downtown.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like the only reason why
Go
I
to
come
7
down here.
Grand Club next time, man.
Oh my
I've
god.
been there in a minute.
What are some of your favorite places to perform here in LA?
I mean, dude, I gotta go Townhouse, bro. Like, Townhouse was like the coolest one.
Townhouse was sick. Townhouse was insane.
Honestly, Jules' apartment at Catch One is it's a very visually appealing place to perform. Like
Mhm.
it's like the original, like where the founder like lived when she had like started the place.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like it feels like a speakeasy. Like there's like a chandelier and like there's like windy stairs. So like the green room, like there's like an area upstairs, but then there on the other side is like a balcony where people can like look down.
Where's this place?
It's in Mid City somewhere. I don't know exactly.
Mid-City? It's
like,
not
where it
Hollywood?
is. No, it's in Mid City.
This just sounds like a place that I've been to.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like yeah, there's this other place that has like a spiral staircase.
Oh yeah.
And people perform up top but there's all this greenery and stuff.
Oh shit. No, this is like very like it feels like an old
okay.
old apartment. Yeah.
Interesting.
Like really, with the exception of the fact that the building does not feel remotely soundproof. That was a really cool spot to perform at.
Yeah.
It was a really cool environment, and I'd love to see that place packed out, like Jules' apartment in particular. Like,
Yeah.
sick. I mean, the only other place that I have performed at, I did like a backyard show for this like little like showcase, that this guy put together that Tiago knew like probably like a week after I moved out here. So this would have been like last October. But I think it would be cool to perform at Winston just because Winston is like,
Yeah, Winston House.
yeah, that would just be a sick place to
That'd be tight.
perform at.
That'd
That'd
be
be dope.
How does it feel to be here in Los Angeles pursuing your dream as a rapper? Does it feel overwhelming? Does it feel like you're in the right place? Do you feel mixed emotions about it?
I mean, it's a mixed basket for sure, but like there's no question or doubt whatsoever of like I used to have feelings of that, of being like, is this ever gonna work out? Like, is this ever gonna happen? And I can honestly say, like, even without like the Dirty Heads thing, like having a song with them and being able to perform at their show, like that made it feel even more real.
Yeah.
But even without that happening, like I just know this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Like
Yeah.
That's a big part where I've had to lean into my faith.
How do you know?
like, how do I know, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
It's God's promise.
What does that mean?
This is what I was created to do. Like, I was literally, God created me to do exactly what I'm doing right now. And there is, like, I did not, that confidence, like, just kind of, like, came, like, I don't want to say out of nowhere, because the year leading up to me moving out to LA, like, I took a lot of time, like, a lot of alone time. And I'm definitely, like, a little more introverted than I used to be, but I used to be, like, so ridiculously extroverted. But, like, I also didn't know how to spend time by myself. And so, like, I lived by myself in this off-campus apartment. And pretty much everyone at York, like, stays, like, on campus or, like, really close to campus, like, all 4 years. So I was, like, removed from that. Like, I didn't invite people over that much. I was just like, I want to spend a lot of time, like, just, like, you know, if I'm not working on music, like, I want to lean into, like, prayer and meditation more. So that contributed to my confidence and my trust in God, especially with, like, the pursuit of this career and this passion. But yeah, really, since I've been in LA, man, it's like unwavering. Like, I have bad days and I have other stuff that I worry about, but when it comes to, like, the craft and when it comes to the passion and the music, like, there's not even the smallest amount of space of doubt for it, because it's just like, it's also like, why would I do that to myself?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, sometimes, like, it's like an intrusive thought, like, it kind of just comes in without you, but, like, yeah, I don't know. I was made to do this. So it's like, I know there's no doubt about success, and the timeline that's confusing. I don't know what the timeline looks like.
Yeah.
You know, I could reach that level of success that I want within the next year. Probably not, but, like, within the next year, like, that could happen, but it could also take me, I could have a bunch of these, like, highs where I perform for bigger artists and still not get the traction that I want to get for another, 8 years. And I'm all right with that. Like, I really am. Like, I love this. Like, there's nothing else that I want to do.
What do you think it's going to take to get you from where you are right now to where you want to be?
Well, one of the things that this is just a small factor, but it is a very important one. I need to do more of the social media thing.
And, like, social media
the content thing and being consistent with content.
Yeah.
Which is, I definitely got over, like, the first hurdle with just starting to do it in general.
Yeah.
Because I used to not do it at all. Like, once every 3 months, I would, like, post a freestyle.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like, it used to be like, I never did it. And I would never do these, like, clips of me, like kind of like short form music videos where I'm, like, rapping my song. Like, I used to never do that at all. And I was just like, I just don't want to do it. Like, I'll be fine. I can do it without it. So I've started doing that. And thanks to the encouragement of my roommate, like, it is, like, essential. And, like, he's got a great eye for shooting. And he's always like, yo, let's get out. Like, let's just go do it. And I think with, like, some of the stuff that you don't necessarily want to do as much, and content creation is a big one when it comes to, like, social media. It's just having that mindset of, like, let's just do it. Like, let's just do it right now. It's like, because if I say that I'm going to do it next week, then I'm probably not.
Yeah.
So that's been a great encouragement of just being like, yo, we're shooting today. I know you got work later, but we're shooting at noon. We'll be back by 2. Like, you have time to, like, eat and get ready. Like, don't even stress it. Like, 2 hours. Like, we're going to go shoot this. And then just, like, make sure you edit it on your own time. So it's like, it's holding each other accountable, but not expecting someone to, like, do the work for you. And not expecting, like, someone to be like, there's no, like, at the end of the day, like, it is, like, it's important to have a team and it's important to have people that you can collaborate with and that will push you and stuff like that. But it is on you at the end of the day. So especially when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, like, one factor. Continuing to network is also really important. Because all it takes sometimes is just, like, meeting the right person.
Yeah.
Like, that can be, like, such a big thing. Like, you meet somebody and they really fuck with your music and you just think that they're cool, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, I actually like work for this company. It's like,
Yeah.
we're interested in people like you. So it's like, oh fuck, I didn't even know
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
networking is important. But networking in LA can also be emotionally exhausting. There's a lot of stimuli throughout like the entire city.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm at a spot because, dude, when I first moved out here, like I met probably a good 300 people within the first like didn't necessarily like take down their contact info or anything like that, but
Mhm.
like I met probably like a good like 300 people within the first like 4 to 6 weeks that I was out here.
Yeah.
And like I was like not used to that at all, and that's when I was like, maybe I'm not as extroverted as I thought I was. I was like, yo, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And the first year was a challenge because I was like, yo, am I not like I felt bad that I wanted to just like stay in. Like I felt bad that I didn't want to like, and I like, you don't have to go out and like party and shit like that, but like even like events and stuff like that, like a lot of the times I was like, I just don't really want to go. Like I just want to stay and like kick it here. And then when there was like the like nights out and stuff like that to meet new people, I was like, nah, I kind of just want to go to like the pub up the street and get a couple beers there with like people that I'm already friends with. Like I don't really want to. So I'm finally at a spot where I feel encouraged to go back out, and I feel like I have the energy and the emotional capacity to go back out and be like not even call it like networking, like just go out and just like fucking meet people, like connect with people.
Yeah.
And there are probably gonna be a lot of people that I don't necessarily want to have like a fully formed connection with, and that's okay, but that's just a part of it. Like that's just an aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
You meet so many people in your life, and there are a lot of people out there that I have not met yet that I'm sure are so wonderful, and I look forward to meeting them. I just don't know who they are yet. So
Totally.
yeah.
Man. Yeah, moving to LA is kind of a crazy experience, I think, for everybody who comes here. It's a bewildering city.
I mean, how long have you been out here now?
I've been here for 5 years.
You guys a vet.
And dude, honestly, man, I feel like it's taken me 5 years just to get to a place where I can finally be like, okay, I think I have like some sense of like what's going on and like where to be to make certain things happen.
I'm still trying to figure that aspect of it out.
It takes time. You've been here for what, 2 years?
No, 1
Year and a what? Couple months?
year and a year and 2 months.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Because we pretty much met almost a year ago at Thanksgiving. Like
Did we meet at Thanksgiving, or
we
did we
met
meet at
we met before
Halloween?
Thanksgiving. Halloween.
Did we
I
meet
think,
at Halloween?
maybe.
Were you at Caden's Halloween party?
Yeah. I think
Okay,
I
yeah.
was.
I think that's where we met. Because
Wait, wasn't that where I was wearing that big clock? Like I had that friggin'
No.
I had that stopwatch.
Nah, dude, that was the Christmas party.
That
And
was
I,
the
and I
Christmas-
gave you like my chain for like that picture, and I was like,
Dude, that was
I
hilarious.
was like, yo, put this Cuban on. That was a bad night for me, man.
oh my god.
That's one of those few nights where I was like,
Good times. Great times.
I was cruising.
But it was
man.
just about a year ago pretty much that we met. And I
Yeah.
think I remember that you had just moved to LA when we
Yeah.
met. Yeah, one thing that I wish that I had known when I first moved to LA, and this is actually, I was just talking to somebody about this today, is when I first moved to LA, my first job that I got was at Trader Joe's. And there was like no part of me that was trying to get a job in the music industry at all. Because I had in my mindset that the only job that I wanted to do in the music industry was to be an artist.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I'm still there a little bit.
In my mind, I was like, I'm not going to be able to work around other artists and watch them do the thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
Which is crazy now for me to think, because in this last year, that's basically like all that I've been doing
Yeah.
is like working pretty much in that world, like events and concerts and like with artists. And the wild thing is I feel like it's actually inspired me.
Oh yeah.
And I've also learned so much more and also met so many more people in that industry. And so, dude, if I could do it over again, man, I think when I first came to LA, I should have immediately just tried to get whatever job I could have gotten in the music industry. Whether that was like at a label or at a concert venue or doing production, like whatever it was, like instead of taking the route that I took, which was like to work in restaurants, because that was all I knew. Because I was like, well, I bartended in college and I served in Detroit, and like you make insane money doing that. So like I need to make money so that I can focus on my music. But ironically, what ended up happening was like I worked in the restaurant industry, and then I began advancing in the restaurant industry. So next thing you know, I'm managing restaurants.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, shit, I'm just doing this because I'm still trying to pay my bills. And this is just the opportunity that's been brought to me. But ultimately, like, that wasn't even the world that I was trying to be involved in. Like, I thought that I always loved restaurants, but
not to the degree where you're like, yeah, I'm good with being a manager.
No, definitely not. But I wish that I had realized that when I was younger. I wish that I had been able to like put my ego aside and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna be here to learn.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that I don't know. And I was stubborn. I mean, I'm a stubborn person. I'm still stubborn. But now that I've like been able to look behind that curtain a little bit, I wish that all these lessons that I'm learning right now, getting to work at concerts and work in production and just like see all the pieces that come together. It's even like little things, man, like little things that add to the whole part of the puzzle. Whether it's about like merch, like how artists do their merch when they're at a show.
Yeah.
Or like just knowing how many different kind of like companies and agencies come together to like make a concert happen.
Yeah.
At the Hollywood Bowl or whatever it is. I feel like all of that is it's like adding to my ability like as an artist and pursuing that goal.
Yeah. I feel like I see that like definitely more than I used to. It's something that I've been like open to.
Mm-hmm.
I just I don't really like know where to start with it. I think that's like the main thing.
That's the thing.
'Cause it's
too.
like, yo, like I think that'd be sick to like be at a studio for like a production company, but I'm just also like, I see so many people that have like had all these crazy internships that do it, and I'm like I'm not like, you know, I did that during college, but like I'm how many years removed from that now, and like all I've done is restaurant work, and it's like,
yeah.
And there are a lot of times where I fucking hate restaurant work.
Dude, tell me about
I
it,
fucking
man.
quit my last job, man.
Tell me about it. I mean, restaurants are wild. Restaurants are crazy.
Oh man.
And you were a server, right, at that last one?
Yes. Yeah, kind of.
Somewhere in between.
No. I was like I was on support, so I was like a food runner and a busser.
Yeah.
But I did a bunch of stupid shit there.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. Like, it was just kind of like wherever I was needed. Like, I had like trained to serve and everything like that. And then I don't really want to talk about that place.
Dude,
to
that's
be
fine, man.
honest.
That's totally fine, bro.
Yeah, I just don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to say. Yeah, I just don't want to like. Not that it's like a touchy subject or anything like that. I don't want to say anything like
That's fair, man. That's fair.
disrespectful or anything like that.
That's fine, man. That's totally fine.
I did not enjoy it whatsoever. It was not good for my mental, and I think
Yeah.
it was specifically that place. You know, there's bad shit at all restaurants.
I think that's
Yeah.
one of the hardest things is like somebody pursuing the arts. Is
Yeah,
trying to find
man.
that balance between how do you live, how do you pay your rent in an expensive city like Los Angeles, and then have time to pursue your craft. It's so fucking hard.
Yeah,
It's-
dude.
It's so fucking hard.
And it's the worst because, like, I feel like one of the worst parts about it is that you take jobs like that so you don't have to work like, you know, like a fucking like 40 to 45 hour work week. So you have like a little bit of extra time to work on your craft. But then you have those sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's a fucking month where you're just so emotionally spent at this place.
Yeah.
And mentally spent at this place.
Yeah.
Dealing with whether it's management or your coworkers or like the patrons that come in, and you're like, yo, I haven't like I can't even like I have the time to work on my stuff, but like I just can't right now because like I'm not there mentally. So it's like
Yeah, when you would get off work, that's the tough thing about restaurants too. Is like you get off work and you're like, I just want to drink.
oh dude, yeah.
I just want a
100%.
fucking beer. Like it's been
I'm
a
like,
long
man,
day, and I had
Get
to
a J
deal
or a
with
beer or
some
both.
some idiot, doing some bullshit, and then. And then everybody else obviously wants the beer too, and
Yeah.
it's just this whole thing. And
You're like, well, let's fucking do it then. Hands are tied. Can't do much about this.
it's tough, man.
Yeah, it's challenging, but honestly, just listening to you talk about like the production work that you've been doing and like just being more involved in the entertainment industry and music industry like that, like right now I'm like, fuck,
Dude,
man.
there's a lot of work there,
because
and I didn't even know.
yeah,
I didn't even know, man, before about a year ago, and then just peering into that world.
I didn't know till right now, so like I was like, fucking, like I'm like, fuck, dude.
I mean, even just so I did an event. We did this like pop up for Ed Sheeran at SoFi Stadium a couple months ago, and being at SoFi and seeing probably like 1,000 people who were employed to make the show run, whether they're like building the stage or they're like security or the people running concessions or they're like some kind of like there were so many people there a part of this massive thing that's happening.
Yeah,
Or like Coachella, like any festival. I mean, any
Yeah.
festival, like it's just so many people involved. And then
festival
you
is
have
crazy.
these activations and these brand partnerships, and there's just
Yeah,
there's all of these things take a tremendous amount of people.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, there's nothing more valuable or indispensable than like reliable people.
yeah,
That's what people are ultimately looking for. And it's all relational. Like a lot of the work that I've gotten has just been through relationships, about like meeting somebody and we just get along and they're like they want to work together.
yeah,
And then meeting another person or being referred or, it's all just human relationships.
yeah.
As opposed to like, networking. I actually think like there's a difference between networking and human relationships.
Oh, 100%, bro.
And I think that ultimately like human relationships go a lot further and a lot deeper.
Because I mean, like even dude, especially in fucking LA, like the context and just kind of like the association that you think of when you think of networking is like, I'm gonna go somewhere so I can find someone that can do something for me,
Yeah.
and they will expect something in return.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like when you are just going out to build new relationships, it's like there aren't really any expectations. Like
Yeah.
you don't set any of that up, and you're naturally more relaxed. You're
Mhm.
naturally more comfortable with someone that you've just met because like, dude, I've been they're few and far between, but I've been to like specific events out here for
Mhm.
creative networking. Just feels so forced.
And
the whole time I'm
sometimes,
like, yo, I'm like,
sometimes you actually can meet,
oh yeah,
amazing
every now and
people.
again, yeah.
but also too there is that weird, awkward, artificial feeling of like, well, what is this? Like we're
Yeah.
all just here trying to get something from each other.
Dude, the one place I was at, it was literally like talk to somebody for like a few minutes, and then it was kind of how it was set up, but it was like talk to somebody for a few minutes. It was like almost like open forum speed dating about like creative networking, and I was like, this just is like, I was like, I feel like we're just out here trying to get more IG followers right now, man. Like I was like, this is not real at all. I was like, and I figured, me and my roommate were like, yeah, like let's go to this. Like we never do shit like this. I was like, yeah, it'd be good to like
Mhm.
get outside of the box a little bit. But I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if this is a box I want to be in though. Like I was like, this is not crazy about that one.
Yeah. When I first moved to LA, my brother and I went to this like songwriters thing that was going on. It was like every week or maybe it was once a month. I don't know. It was so long ago. And it was kind of like a networking session for like artists and singer songwriters, and it was cool. Like I think what they were trying to do was cool, but we did meet a couple people out of that ended up becoming like longtime friends.
That's awesome.
But you know, everything else surrounding that event, I pretty much like either can't even really remember what was going
you kinda just,
on,
like,
or
block
like
it out. You're like,
you know.
it's not really worth the long-term space occupation.
But those
of my brain.
friendships, I mean, I remember there was one person who like we ended up playing a bunch of shows together, and we're still friends. And then I think there was somebody else who was like, I'm pretty sure I met this guy through this. He ended up being like played bass in our band for a little bit. Sometimes I feel like those can be good starting points, though.
Yeah.
When you come to a city and you literally know nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you knew your brother
Yeah, dude.
when you came out
Nico-
to LA.
Yeah. Do you mind if I take a piss real quick?
Dude, yeah, let's
Alright,
take a
alright,
pause.
alright.
Okay, we're back.
It's
we're,
your boy.
We're back after a fun little off the air conversation break. But-
man, we hadn't even like caught up yet.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we were, but you can only catch up.
That's true.
Never mind.
But yeah, no, it doesn't take me too long to edit these, especially now. Like I have like a full template. Like even before, like I had a template, but it wasn't like complete, and I was
Yeah.
like switching computers. Now it's like, as soon as we're done, I'm gonna edit this tonight.
Oh fuck yeah.
In fact, I need you to send me a photo of yourself
Oh yeah.
that I can use as the cover. Cause this, what time is it right now, bro? This is going live in 20 minutes. Not actually.
No
20.
fucking way.
Not 20 minutes, because that's not even like we might be talking in 20 minutes. But I put these out every Friday, so
Oh shit. All right, word.
it's about to be Friday in 20
Hell
minutes.
yeah.
But I think I might be changing it soon.
To what?
So based on the new data analytics that I got from Spotify,
Mhm.
I think it actually might be better to release episodes every Monday.
Oh yeah.
Because apparently people listen to podcasts less on the weekends than the weekdays.
They just want that musica.
It's
what
about
they call
that, you know, that drive, that commute. What are you listening to on the commute?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you
So
know,
like weekday, start of the week, boom, new podcast, start of the
Yeah.
week. You got your whole week to listen to.
that makes a lot more sense. I feel like on those long commutes, you know, you get tired of the same old fucking music, dude. You just want to.
Hear some voices.
Dude, yeah, I love it. I love podcasts. Man.
Yeah? What do you listen to?
Nothing. I don't really listen. I like don't listen to podcasts.
Love podcasts.
But I do every time I like sit down and like actually listen to one, like I'll enjoy it. I
Yeah.
listen to a lot of sermons though.
Interesting.
Sermons are the thing. That's usually what I'll go for.
Okay. Have you there is a podcast about the Mars Hill Church.
It's the Mars Hill Church.
Oh my God. Okay. So there's this big church up in Seattle. It's called Mars Hill. And there's a pastor named Mark Driscoll.
It was like a cult.
No, it wasn't a cult, but it was like a mega church. And
So it was a cult.
that like, yeah, that kind of just like was really corrupt and went
Oh yeah.
sideways, because this guy was a bit of like an egomaniac,
Yeah.
maybe narcissist kind of dude who
Probably.
like was just a big problem.
Yeah.
But there's a really good podcast, and I'm totally forgetting what it's called. It's oh my God, I bet I can like look it up real fast here. Wow, it's quite like never actually get to do this. Like look things up while we're okay.
Canva, bro. Essential.
Canva
I love Canva.
podcast about Mars Hill Church. You know what's funny? Oh, the rise and fall of Mars Hill.
Oh, word.
Dude, you actually might
Straightforward.
really like this podcast. It was really well done. You know what's funny, man, is like I'm not religious. I grew up religious, and you kind of know that.
Mm.
But like, I feel like on this podcast, it actually is a theme that has been like kind of reoccurring
Oh, for real.
a little bit. Yeah, I brought in somebody a couple podcasts ago named Charity Doll. She's like a really incredible tailor, fashion designer, seamstress, and she's a Christian. And we talked
okay.
about kind of like that intersection of like fashion and faith,
Oh, that's sick.
which was pretty fascinating.
That's awesome.
And
I'll
then
have
I
to listen
brought
to
on another friend of mine, Sarah, who plays
Oh shit, yeah.
the
yeah.
Virgin Mary
That's sick.
in The Chosen. And like I don't think that she would describe herself as a Christian.
Oh, okay.
But obviously she portrays the Virgin
Yeah.
Mary, which is kind of like a very interesting role, very unique role to be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is so significant
100%.
for Christians. So
Is it better if it's down here?
I don't know.
Just out of my face more.
You know what? Actually, I think it is like a tiny bit better to like hit it at that angle.
Yeah, I like that better. I just had it like straight on earlier.
You
Yo.
said you had been on a podcast before, right?
Yeah.
What was the podcast?
It was just like one of my college friends did
Nice.
they used to talk about like everything, and they wouldn't necessarily like have like people like specific to like, sometimes they would just like have friends on, and they just try to make it like kind of like radio show-esque type
Yeah.
podcast. But yeah, the one dude, Austin, he's a riot, dude. I haven't caught up with him in a minute, but yeah, he's a character. It was fun to be on because he's a great host.
Are they still making them?
I'm not entirely sure. I know they took a
Okay.
break from it for a little while, but I think he works. I mean, last time that it's been a minute.
Yeah.
again, but
Dude,
like,
I don't
last
want
time
to.
that
I don't want
talked
to take a break. I want it to keep going, man.
when you take a break, it can be hard to come back because you're like, oh, I got to come back with like something better, and it's like, what can you really do to like come back with something better apart from upping your equipment and like the space that you're in? So it's like, yeah, like it's got to be pretty straightforward. I mean, you can find more interesting people, but that's not always like a given. That's, like that's not like, you don't fucking know. Like you never have an idea of like, sometimes you might have somebody on that like you just have them on just for the sake of it, and they're the most interesting person that you found. So I don't know, but 44, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of interesting people.
44.
You're
You
finding them out here, man.
Did I tell you that I want to throw a party for the 1 year
Yes.
anniversary?
Dude, at 100, that's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I
You
think
gotta let
like
me know.
yeah, I think I should throw like a 1 year anniversary and then like
I'm gonna have to stay sober for that though.
100th party, 100th podcast party. Yeah,
100th.
it'll be wild. Every year it will just be bigger and bigger.
Oh, dude. I like where this is headed, man.
Dude, you know what's this saying is? I think Joe Rogan recently hit his 2000th podcast.
Oh yeah.
2000.
I mean, I don't really watch. I see like a lot of clips of him, but like I don't really watch like I don't think I've ever watched a Joe Rogan podcast and like
Really?
to completion. Like I don't know like how long do his podcast go?
They're
'Cause
long.
I've seen some of them. They're like 3 hours.
Dude, they're
or
long.
something,
They're about like 3 hours.
damn.
2,000 people, 3 hours.
They just do everything on those too, bro. Like
It's insane.
It's wild.
Oh, I know.
I'm not super into the whole psychedelic thing. I mean,
No.
I like shrooms, but like I don't know. I don't really do shrooms like regularly. I've never really been into acid. Never even tried acid. I'm just like, and I'm definitely not trying to dabble with the whole DMT ayahuasca thing. I think that's just too much of a trip for me.
I'm
Like,
very fascinated by DMT and ayahuasca.
I think they're really interesting. I like to like read about them and shit
Yeah.
like that sometimes when I get like on like a little like research binge.
Yeah.
Or that, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, honestly for me, like drugs of choice, like keep it to my core three. It's just booze, weed, and shrooms.
Booze, weed, and shrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? Yeah, I mean,
Dude, you know what's funny, man, is like
I've done other drugs. I just don't.
lately I have felt like I have not felt compelled to go outside the realm of just having to drink.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I don't know. It's like either here nor there.
Yeah. I mean, I personally think it's good. I think out of my three drugs of choice, I think that the most dangerous one is alcohol by far.
Yeah.
Alcohol actually just turns you into a fucking Neanderthal, bro. If you have enough of it, like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I think that there's like a time and place for those things.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to also overdo it,
Oh, 100%.
you know. Yeah. But it's weird. I feel like, and maybe part of it's societal. Like in the same way that like drinking coffee is just so ingrained in like the fiber of our
Yeah.
society, like also like having a beer
Yeah.
or a glass of wine is so normalized that
Yeah.
it just yeah. Then again though, I feel like the older I get, the less like the more I'll be totally fine to be like, I don't want to drink at all tonight. Like I'm
Yeah.
just not even in the mood.
I've like recently started to get to that point with my relationship with alcohol where it's
Mhm.
just like I like literally like the taste of it. I just haven't been enjoying quite as much lately.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't really know what's good with that. It was just kind of out of nowhere. My parents came out here in October, and like we went out to wait, was it October? Yeah, it was the beginning of October.
Mhm.
We went to a couple different places to have some beers, and I had like my go-tos. Like I wasn't even like going crazy and trying new shit. Like I was just having my go-tos, and I was like,
Yeah.
this isn't really working for me right now. Like I'm just kind of like carving it up for no reason. Like I just like I'm not really like thoroughly enjoying this. And I mean, when I went out for Halloween, I didn't like, that was probably the most I've drank in a while. And like, I just didn't even really have that much fun. Like me,
Yeah.
like my friend that I went out with that night, like we talked about it like a week after, and we were like, dude, it wasn't even like we were just drunk and we were just not like having that good of a time.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm trying to think about like any time that I've ever been stoked about being drunk. It's probably far and few between.
Oh yeah.
Like by the time you're drunk, I feel like it's just maybe for me, every time I've been drunk, the distance between that and like puking is like very small, and then it's just a bad night.
Oh no, dude. I like don't throw up when I get too fucked up. I just like, I mean, I haven't blacked out like a crazy amount of times or anything like that. Like I'm like, you know, I'm not out here like getting blacked like constantly, but like I don't throw up. I just go. It's just like boom. It's just
Really?
like memory gone. It's
Yeah,
just,
see,
like, erased.
I've
I don't-
thrown up too many times, and I just
I wish I was like that.
at this point I'm
would-
like I never want to do that ever again.
Yeah, I wish it was. I wish it was more like that for me, because, you know, blacking out is much worse. I mean, I hate throwing up, but like when you throw up when you've drank too much, it's like you feel good after it. You're like, oh, I'm relieved. Like,
I don't know, man.
yeah, all right, maybe feeling good.
know if
Maybe
I'm feeling
feeling
good.
good is a stretch. Maybe feeling good.
You're feeling
Feel good as a stretch.
slightly better.
You feel better. You're like, got that out of my system. Not gonna drink. No, I'm just kidding. No, you don't drink more after I throw up.
Honestly, man, not to sound like a friggin' hippie, but you know what is just so much more appealing to me than that is like sauna and a cold plunge.
Oh yeah. I thought you were gonna say something about like weed and shrooms or some shit like that when you said hippie. Yeah, yeah, sauna, cold plunge. Yeah.
Sauna and cold plunge on shrimps.
Oh yeah. Getting in the ocean in the winter is fantastic. Honestly, I mean,
Dude, it's a shock to the system.
I love it.
If you want to feel alive, jump into some cold water.
Yeah,
You will know what it means to be alive.
I did my first cold plunge like proper like in like there was like a tub for like the cold plunge shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know when that was. That was a while ago. I had never done it before.
Mm.
I think it was set at like 41.
That's cold.
Yeah. So
It's cold.
I didn't know that you're supposed to like you're supposed to start off your cold plunges at like a little bit warmer of a temperature, and then you know,
Oh, really?
once you're supposed to like ease into them, and like, and Nico was like, no, you're gonna be fine. But like like Nico and his roommate Scott had like they like done it plenty of times before, so I'm like,
my
all right.
goodness.
And dude, I was like my body, I just never, my body had, I mean, probably like once or twice before, but like my body had never really been like shocked quite like that. And Nico was also like, dunk your head before you get in, because it's harder to like dunk your head like prior to
once
getting
you're in?
out. Should not have done that either, man.
Damn.
And he was also like, keep your hands in there and just go like that. So like I didn't have my hands outside of it. I was just
Interesting.
like, I almost got out right away because I was in such shock. And then he was
Yeah.
like, he like coached me through the breathing. I think I did a minute and a half, which is more than I anticipated.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. But it was only because he was there. If I would have been doing it solo and wouldn't have had somebody coach me through like the breathing and everything,
Yeah.
because I'll do like breathing exercises for like vocal warm ups and shit like that. But like that's entirely different from like,
Yeah.
but ever since I've done that, I I can always, no matter how cold the ocean is, I can always like get in because you know it doesn't like out here it doesn't like get below. I don't know what the
That's not
I don't know what
41.
the it's definitely not fucking 41. So like
That's some cold
now I'm
water,
like,
man.
yeah, now when I get in the ocean and it's a little chilly, I'm like I can get in the whole way. Like I'm
Yeah.
like there's no excuse. Like just do your breathing. Like you'll be
Yeah.
fine. But like dude, I was like I got in, I was like and I was like I'm getting out. And he was like no. He was like just breathe. He was like come on, you got
Where
it.
did you guys do that? In his backyard?
No. His roommate Scott, I think he like went in on the cold plunge with like I think like 5 other people,
Okay.
and they keep it at like their friend's house. Like this like group of girls like has it at their crib, and I think it's in El Segundo.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just like down in South Bay that day, and they're
Nice.
like they were still living in. It was before they moved closer to Hermosa, but
Okay.
they were still at their place in Manhattan. They were like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's like not that far. I was like, I'm down. I was like, I'll probably just like if I don't do this, like I'll probably just like go home and like
Yeah.
you know like get high and like not do shit. And I was like, I know if I cold plunge, then like I'll be like riding that high. So like I'm not gonna smoke when I get home. So happy I did.
Yeah.
But it was a lot. I was like,
Dude, it really is insane. Like that sensation of like just dunking yourself in cold water.
yeah,
It's rejuvenating.
it's all it takes, man. It's all it takes.
It really is.
It's one of the best drugs out there.
What do you think sparks your creativity? Like, is it weed? Is it
Nah,
a book? Is it a walk? Is it
I get a little creative. Like
a
people,
cold plunge?
I hate. Like I've definitely written some good songs. Like while I've been high. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong. But I hate it when I go into like studio sessions and like I feel like that's definitely like a big like rap thing too. Is like oh yeah, like let's make sure we're like smoking and stuff like that. And I'm just like I feel like when I get high, like I can freestyle so well when I'm high. Like
Yeah.
full verses off the top. But when I sit down, like, and sometimes I still like I have that the creative juices are flowing when I'm stoned, and I'm like, yo, like I gotta write some right now. And then when I sit down to write, just because I'm so used to like the proper way that I'm supposed to go about it, like what I'm used to, it's like I'll have all these good bars in my head,
Mhm.
and then I try to like put them together, and it's like they're just like running away. Because
Yeah.
like when you're stoned, it's like affecting your short term like so much.
Yeah.
So it's just like running away from me, like escaping me.
Yeah.
I honestly just think like living. Like there's like this line in this J. Cole song, Let Go My Hand, which is off of what is the name of that album? The Off Season. And he's talking in the verse, he's like talking about how he had heard this beat like months before and he didn't rock with it, and then
Mhm.
he like came back to it and he was ready to write to it, and he says something along the lines of like I could only do that because he was like sometimes you got to step away and do some living. And that's like for me like that's like such a big truth when it comes to creativity. Is like when I go through creative blocks, I used to just try to like force myself to like write because I was like, oh, it's important, and I still think it's important to like stay in tune with your craft and do exercises that will help build you and keep you disciplined. Because I think one of the biggest thing during blocks that can really make that block go for longer than you want it to is like just completely letting discipline like go to the wind during it, because it's like you're just like, oh well, like I'm not like my muse isn't calling me, so like if she's not calling me, then like I'm not gonna go to her, like that sort of thing. Whereas like you still kind of like gotta stay in that, but like if it's not there, like if I'm not there with writing, it's like let's work on some beats. Or if I'm not there with writing and I'm not there with production, then that's what's been great about learning guitar lately. Is like I've just been playing so much guitar because it's like, and I'm not even in a creative block. I've just really been motivated to work on guitar because I just like love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, creativity is just comes from living. It comes from highs and it comes from lows, and a lot of the time it comes from lows. I think a lot of my favorite verses that I've ever written are like sadder ones, and it's from a season of healing and heartbreak. And because when you go through heartbreak, whether it's from like a romantic relationship or like the loss of a loved one or just like any sort of frustration that you have, like whether it's like work, like whatever it is, like any variety of heartbreak, like it can be so you want to get it out like right away. And a lot of the time, like I'm like, I gotta step back and like I just gotta like talk to my people about this. Like I gotta heal alongside the people that I know like are gonna listen and I know like actually like care for me and like my heart is like safe with them until I can step into a space where I'm like I'm ready to write about this. With one of the songs that I wrote a couple of days ago, the one that I was talking about where I just like looped that like piano beat and was writing over it. Like I was trying to write that verse for so long, bro, and I just like it was just forced and it was just constant. Like I thought that I was healed, but I was like not. And yeah, like I didn't even try to write it the other night, and it just came to me. So I think it's living, but then also like in those like low seasons, like healing. I'm taking the time to heal from that, so I can have the clarity and I can have the headspace to really like channel that creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Ooh. What is where's my creativity flourish?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I think for most of my life, it was like this like strike of lightning where like I wouldn't write and then suddenly I would like sit down and it would just like a song would just like come out. And I could just feel it. Like I could feel this like sense of urgency inside of me of like, oh, like there's something almost like you're fucking giving birth, you know? It's like, not that I know what that's like, but there'd be this feeling that would come over me of like, I can't leave this unfinished. Like I can't get up and walk away right now. Like there's something happening and I got to finish it. I got to see it through. But it was always random. It would always be like so random. And then more recently I've been a little bit more intentional about like sitting down and writing and being like, I'm going to write.
Yeah.
And kind of going through that process. And then I think too, because music isn't like the only way that I create, like there's a lot of ways that I create. And so some of that is naturally more, well, I think honestly, the theme is that it's always sporadic.
Yeah.
If I'm writing poetry, sporadic. If I'm writing music, sporadic. If I'm writing a story, it's like I'm just inspired in the moment. Late nights are always a time where I'm like very creative for sure.
Something about the late nights, bro. There's
Absolutely, man.
'em.
Something about the middle of the night. Yeah.
I don't know what's good with that.
Yeah.
That always seems to be the case for most of the people that I know that create really, really awesome stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's always feels very like spur of the moment for me. I think that if I like rationalize it, I want to be more scheduled and more planned out and more like, okay, I'm going to create a space. I'm going to create a time to like be creative. It's kind of funny too, because I was like thinking about just like that balance of like everyday life and work and like trying to be creative. And in a way, I almost feel like, I wonder if it's more worth it to like work a ton and schedule like a week where I'm like, I've saved up and I don't have to work for a week and I can just take a week and not see anybody and like just make music. Yeah. As opposed to like one day here, one day there. I kind of wonder for me, like I might take it one day and I might get like really frustrated or bummed or disappointed because like in that one day, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
But if I had a week, I feel like that's enough time to get through that awkward phase of like, you do something and you're like, that was shit, but then you do it again. I feel like a week would be enough time to find a flow.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I'm like planning on doing lock-in. My main producer, he lives in Fort Wayne, Indiana now because he's working at Sweetwater.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Bro, I went there for their Gear Fest one summer when I was living in Detroit. I bought my Ableton Push there, bro.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I was at the Sweetwater Factory, man. The place is sick.
You know sales and shit, dude. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn for Will or anything here, but, you know, he's always trying to get new clients and shit. So,
all right.
But, yeah, me, him, and Nathan, like, we want to Also, I've been very confusing about the names here. Will, again, Will is Kaz and Will is KOTB. I always call him Will, though, just because I see him. Nathan is Nathaniel Oku. Sometimes I call him Oku, but he's my boy, so it's Nathan. But yeah, me, Will, and Nathan, we did a lot of our like lock-ins and music making, just like late nights in like the studio setup that Will had in his parents' house back in Pennsylvania. And we just haven't been able to do that because Nathan lives in DC. I'm out here. Will's in Indiana. So we're trying to do a lock-in like probably like end of January where we just get like a little like cabin off of like Lake Erie.
Dude,
or some
that
shit
has
like
been
that.
my dream for so long to just have a writing retreat.
Dude.
I had that once, actually. Mexico City.
Oh, shit, dude. That's awesome.
That's where I wrote the majority of my album. My album, Belarus.
Oh, yeah?
Robert, I was in Mexico City. I didn't have a job. I was living on my credit card. And I was just living in this apartment, with my ex-girlfriend's dad, and just writing music.
Hell yeah. That sounds awesome, man.
And that was sick.
I mean, I haven't done it. I've always wanted to do like a retreat to like I love the Caribbean, like I like Dominican Republic, like specifically. Like I fucking love the DR. So
yeah,
I've always wanted to do one there, but that's definitely like a pricier one. And I've seen like a lot of artists, like big and small, like do them in like Hawaii, like somewhere. So I think that'd be cool. But most of our lock-ins and shit, like, or we would go to. Will has like a little like cabin in West Virginia that's like right on the river, and it's literally it I mean, we call it the river house because it essentially is just like you have to like duck to like, you know, I'm only like 6 foot and I gotta like duck to like get like under like the door and shit like that, just like tiny little spot, but like a lot of tranquility there, and we can just do whatever we want. Like we can smoke and drink what we want, or we can just like spend the whole day like playing soccer and like getting in the canoe and like just like playing on guitar and shit like that. So like that's where we would do it, but for the sake of traveling and like also the fact that like since he has access to like the Sweetwater like equipment library, like we want to be able to like
so sick.
we want to be able to like take a couple nice things with us.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to that, but
That's
we gotta
pretty
make it
tight.
happen. I like just had conversations with him about it this
Nice.
past week, so.
Do you have any shows coming up?
I do not. No, not right now. Just getting back to the craft. Really been feeling writing lately, so just trying to listen to that call and tap into writing. I've been working on production as well.
Yeah.
I'm working on guitar a lot. And once Tiago is back, we really want to just hammer down on social media content. So getting back to that, because we were doing a great job with it through like late spring and like early summer. But
What's your strategy with that?
just fucking post consistently, I guess. Yeah.
But post what? Like, what do you like to post? Or what do you feel posts well?
I really don't know. I like, cause you know, like a lot of it is on like TikTok, and I feel like I've actually been having this conversation with a couple different people within the industry over this past week, and like TikTok is so random. Whereas like, you know, Instagram, I like to post on my story and stuff like that. Like I like to post little snippets of like, you know, this is like my life and like me like playing guitar like at night, or like posting like a little clip of like a new song that I haven't released yet, like a little snippet. And like sometimes it's like that song might not even get dropped, but I'm cool with it. But when it comes to like posting like full form content where I'm like putting out clips of me and like short form music video type shit, like I feel a little bit more spammy about doing it on Instagram because it's like constantly in the feed and shit like that. And I mean, shorts is important. It's important, especially with monetization, just because the payout is higher on YouTube. So those are like the three places where I want to be posting. But I feel like right now we kind of just got to focus on TikTok because TikTok is I feel like that's where you get like the highest conversion rate of like viewers to like streams.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out like natural and organic ways to have my songs hit those Spotify like playlisting algorithms, so I can start getting back on playlists, because my numbers have been diving for a while lately, and I'm not quite as pressed about the numbers as I used to be, but I know that it's still important, and I don't want to like let that slip too much, and I just get to a point where I feel like I'm like entirely back at like square one.
Yeah.
And also, TikTok is like, I don't know, I think it's Spotify actually, but they're implementing like a new feature. I don't know if it's already started or when it's supposed to drop, if it hasn't dropped yet, but they're like working together where you can just directly save, if you find like a song that you like on TikTok, you can just directly save it to like your Spotify library.
No way.
Just by clicking on it, which is great.
Dude, that's wild.
But I don't know. TikTok is another double-edged sword of the music industry, where it's like you got to be popping on there, but like I don't know. It's like it's important because it's a great tool, but it's like I just feel so defeated some days.
Dude, I know,
by the
man.
social
Tell me
media
about
shit,
it.
man.
Tell me about it, bro.
And like TikTok is also something where it's like I posted like a guitar clip like the other day. Got like a lot of engagement on my Instagram story. And then I put it on TikTok, and it literally I reposted it like 3 times, because like the first time I posted it, like over 24 hours, like 0 views, and then the second time it was like 10. I was like, fuck, I'll do it one more time, and I think it hit like 40 or some shit like that. Like it just wasn't working. But dude, I have videos on TikTok where I have like, it's not crazy, but it's like I have like 1,000 views on it, and I'm literally like, yo, I made a sandwich. I'm performing tomorrow. And the engagement is so high, and I'm like,
dude, I don't understand.
I didn't do it. Like it's not like
I don't understand.
There's not some catch here. Like like I look like a bum in this video. Like I'm like fucking like there's nothing here that should be getting me these numbers.
Yeah.
It's really not that funny. I'm just like, I'm not saying some crazy joke that everybody would think is funny. Like it's just like dumb as fuck, and I'm like, why is this doing better than? Like that's also part of the reason why when we were like really on our shit with like the whole TikTok thing, we were doing the short form music videos, like we were posting consistently. We were probably getting, I don't know, probably around like 300 views for like each one, but occasionally we would post one and it would get like less than 100 views. And I'm like, dude, this is nothing. And we spent time filming it. We like, and when we spend time filming, like we want to pick out the location for the shot and shit like that. And we're not like crazy anal about it or anything. Like we're not like, this needs to be perfect. Like if we were shooting like full form music video, but at the same time, like we're not just like, all right, well, we already shot like 20 videos in front of this brick wall, so let's just do another one here. It's like, all right, let's go somewhere new this time. Like let's scout a little bit. And then we're actually doing the shooting, and we do like a couple takes of it. And every time we shoot, like I shoot for him and then he shoots for me, or like vice versa. So it takes a little bit of time, and then you got to edit it and everything, which again, doesn't take like a crazy amount of time, but all together, it's a couple hours out of the week just to be getting like no numbers whatsoever.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It's a little bit defeating. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do. We want to get back to, I have songs that I know that like my friends and like my core fan base, I know they've seen me post about it, and I know it's been out for over a year and all that, but I'm like, this is a great song. Not enough people have heard it, so it's like sometimes you just gotta keep like beating down on it, because it's like that if a song has the potential to do it, like it doesn't matter when it blows up, man. Like it really doesn't, because like when it does, that's a new song to probably a good like 98% of the people that are hearing it for the first time. Yeah. So it's important to like stay on top of that shit, but it's that's a journey. Yeah. That's a journey.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, why Alex Vince? Is Vince your middle name?
Yeah. So my full name is Alexander Vincent DeGrange, and I didn't want to really do like, I was trying to figure out like an artist name when I was 18.
You want to go by AVG?
It'd be AVD.
Oh yeah, AVD.
Yeah.
It's my dyslexia.
Yeah, that's all right, man. Don't worry about it. The G's capitalized in it, so I don't want to. I understand. But yeah, I didn't want to do like I didn't want to just pick some like random name that was like a nickname or something like that, because I never really had any like nicknames growing up. or at least if I did, like they were like when I was like a little kid. Like it's not something that I would like use for. Definitely not like a rapper name. And when I started off, it was all rap. It was like no singing at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted something that was just me, but had like a little bit of flair. Because I thought about just using my last name for a while. But then I was like, I don't know if it's creative. Like, I don't know if it's quite creative enough. I wanted to do something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, especially because in like sports and stuff in high school, like everybody calls you by your last name, and like my name, like my last name is like everybody like it was just like a constant, like it just felt like a sports thing because you know, like a lot of people like growing up, it was just like I used to people like pronounce it like DeGrange. Yeah, and I, like you know, I don't really give a fuck like people like pronounce it wrong. So
I'm used to the same thing, man.
That doesn't matter to me like at all. But that's just like how people like knew me and stuff, and like especially with like sports teams. So I didn't want people being like DeGrange, what's up? And then like that was just like like that's just like my name. And like when people are like DeGrange, like whether they're like saying it the right way or not, like I was just like this feels like high school sports and shit. So I went with Alex Vince. Felt like a cool name. I like my name.
I dig it, man. Yeah. I like Alex Vince.
Thanks, man.
It also reminds me of Vince Staples. I love Vince Staples. So
Vince Staples. That time that Nico was like, "Nah, bro, I fucking hate Vince Staples," and he was thinking about somebody entirely different. And then you were like, "No, dude, like Vince Staples," or I was like, "No, like Ramona Park," and he was like, "Oh, Vince Staples." He's like, "Yeah, big fan." I remember he was talking to you about it. I don't know.
I have like a very loose memory about that, man.
I don't know. That was just like a random snippet. I don't even know why my brain remembers half the stuff.
I love Vince Staples, man.
Yeah, he's great, dude.
He put out what's the name of the one with the song "Crabs in a Bucket"? What's the name of that fucking?
This is Summertime.
Let me look it up.
06.
I met Vince Staples one time in Seattle.
Oh yeah,
on the street. Yeah, he was super nice. This song or this album, Big Fish Theory.
Is that off that one?
Oh, and Ramona Park. That's the newest album.
Yeah,
Ramona Park, Broke My Heart. Yeah, dude. Big Fish Theory.
Big Fish Theory.
Bitch, you thirsty? Please grab a Sprite.
Nah, dude. That's the other one.
That's off Big Fish Theory.
No, it's not.
What?
Go click on the shit again, bro. Click on Summertime 06.
It's on this?
Yeah. I thought Crabs in a Bucket was on that too. Go down.
No, dude. Crabs in a Bucket is definitely off of...
all right. You got me on that one. But
Dude, I'm pretty sure that those lyrics...
Nah, that's North. North is on... North is on...
Oh, my God. Anyways.
Yeah. There it is.
Vince, if you're listening to this, my apologies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, and my apologies. Oh, man. Well, Alex, we should probably wrap it up, man.
Yeah, probably.
It's midnight.
Holy shit, bro.
This episode is dropping today.
Gosh.
Because as soon as I end this recording, you got to send me a photo. And I'm going to get on Canva, and we're going to make this fucking
I'm down.
artwork.
I'm down.
Any last words you want to leave the audience with, man?
If you haven't listened to my music, then please go do so. It is on all streaming services. Literally, just look up Alex space Vince. Most recent tape is Fahrenheit, but if you feel like it, listen to the whole discog. It's all good. So
hell yeah, and I'm gonna have all your links and stuff.
Hell yeah,
in the description. So
fucking go,
my man, dude. It's been a good time,
dude.
Man.
It's been a great time. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely,
it's been a
man.
blast.
We'll do it again.
Looking forward to it.
Hell yeah, bro.
All right, man.
Take care, bro.
Let's fucking work on the.
Sounds good.
Let's work on the profile pic. See ya.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Spring Street Podcast. If you'd like to support the show, sign up for the Patreon to receive exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and check out the sponsor links in the description.